Yeah, thank you, right here. That's you.
Yeah.
Good evening. I would like to call to order the College Park Business and Industrial Development Authority meeting to order. Thank you all for being here this evening. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that this is Women's History Month, a time to recognize leadership, resilience, and many contributions women make in our communities and in public service. As chair, I remain committed to keeping BIDA moving forward with transparency, accountability, and a clear focus on economic development for the city of College Park. And Ms. Hannah, if you would you please call the roll?
Chair Sabrina Willis,
Present.
Vice Chair Lethea Williams,
Present.
Secretary Treasurer Julian Wiesenover, Mayor Motley Broom, Vice Mayor Joe Karn,
Here.
Board Member Tracy Wyatt,
Present.
and Board Member Mrs. Alyssa Jefferson. Here. And that's the end of the roll call.
And if there are any guests and staff, would you please introduce yourselves, your name, your organization, starting on the left side.
I'm Marjorie Dent, chaplain of College Park Police Department.
Rose Stewart, College Park Police Department.
Yonda Spawner, Executive Director of the Gateway Campus.
Michael Hicks, Interim City Manager, City of College Park.
Latonya Wiley, BIDA attorney. Sorry.
Ed Wall, Financial Advisor.
Hannah Adiogan, Assistant Secretary Treasurer for PIDA.
Keith Garcia, Program Manager, City of College Park.
Bumlane Janaku, United Action for Advancement in Humanity.
Is that everyone?
Louise Harris, resident of the City of College Park, a parent of with the Georgia Favor Track team.
Rex Willis, RSW Services.
That's all.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll have the prayer by Dr. Reverend Marjorie Dent.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, and everyone. It's good to be here, and thanks for inviting me to do the invocation. So let us pray. Heavenly Father, we gather this day with gratitude for the privilege of serving the city of College Park and the people who call this community home. We thank you for the vision, dedication, and leadership represented in this room, especially for the leadership of Chairperson Dr. Sabrina Willis, the members of the College Park Business and Industrial Development Authority, and all those who work faithfully to guide the economic future of the city. Lord, we are reminded of your word in Proverbs chapter 11, verse 14, where there's no guidance, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors there is safety. So today we ask your wisdom to guide every discussion, every plan, and every decision made in this meeting. As we celebrate the contributions of women this month, we remember them through history. You have used women and men to guide communities toward justice, wisdom, and progress. We remember Deborah, who led with courage and discernment, Esther, who stood for her people in a decisive moment, and Lydia, a businesswoman whose enterprise helped support the early church. We also remember the strength and vision of women in our own history, women like Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, and Dr. Dorothy Height. Also, Ketanji Jackson, who is now in the Supreme Court, and Maya Angelou. Their legacy reminds us that leadership is not only about authority, but about service and purpose. We thank you, Lord, for the women and men who serve here in College Park, those in leadership, economical development, public safety, and community service. Lord, we especially pray today for the development and future of this land, especially work unfolding at 6 West. Your word declares in Psalm 24, verse 1, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Therefore, we ask that you bless this land and every project that benefits business, workers, families, and future generations. Bless the mayor, council, city staff, entrepreneurs, investors, and workers whose labors help shape the prosperity of this community. May the decisions made here today help build a stronger, more vibrant College Park. We offer this prayer with humility, Lord, gratitude, and hope. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, Jesus Christ, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. At this time, I have a special presentation.
Hi, my name is Marjorie Dent, winner of the Merit Award for the Black History Program 2026 in College Park. I am the wife of the late Councilman Jesse A. Dent Jr., retired from the Army in 1975, and we moved to College Park in 1976. So we've been here and part of the culture for almost 50 years. And so in 1990, Councilman Johnny Robinson called me and asked me if I wanted to sit on the zoning board at that time. And so I was the first African American that ever sat on the zoning board in College Park. The deep commitment to the city started with my husband. We were members of Friendship Baptist Church, and so we were very active members. And at that time, there was such racial discrimination in College Park that we all got together with Johnny Robinson, Lottie Miller, and Michael Tower, and a lot of people that were younger at that time, and we formed the group that brought this city to where it is right now. We fought for equal justice. We made sure that everyone had an equal opportunity in this city. Then I started in the ministry in 1983, so that's 43 years ago. I was the first female woman to be licensed at Friendship Baptist Church, so that was history. I'll just encourage people, no matter what you're going through, and you have a passion in your heart, just believe in yourself. Believe that you can do it, because all things are possible with God. And just keep that phrase, all things are possible with God. And if you have a dream, live your dream. Be kind to people, love people, and just go forth.
I just thought it was just so fitting to recognize Dr. Marjorie Dent. She's such a special woman in our community, and I just think the world of her. And I just thank you for everything that you do. And she just had a birthday also on last Monday, so if we could just say happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
62.
Next on the agenda, we'll have the approval of the minutes from the February 11th BIDA meeting. I just ask the board to take a moment to review the minutes. If there are any corrections or amendments, I will entertain a motion for approval.
I have a correction.
Yes, Board Member Jefferson.
Line 393. I'm not sure if my comments were redacted or they just wasn't correctly recorded.
Can you take a look at that, Hannah?
So my correct statement there, it was not, members, Solicitor Jefferson asked, who is the signer? 300,000 is a lot of money missing. On the account, who has access? That's incorrect. The correct statement was, the city has been defrauded of 300,000 in the past from the Tracy Wyatt Center from bank account withdrawals, and recently the 625,000 from the Keller Williams and former Chair Tracy Wyatt signing of illegal contracts. So how do we prevent any other funds from being embezzled? So who will be the signer on this account?
We'll make sure that's updated.
I have corrections.
Okay, Dr. Williams?
Line 34. The approval to appraise the 6 West was not attributed to me. I don't know how to fix that, but that has nothing to do with the promotion of the arts in College Park. That's two different issues that are condensed.
We'll get that fixed.
And then, excuse me. Line 263, it should be PM as in Mary, PMG, not PNG.
We'll get that fixed as well.
Line 278, Mayor Pro Tem Joe Carn said, I am asking permission for BIDA to okay and get this property within the red line owned by BIDA. But there's no motion. And I know we did vote on the appraisal, so the motion is missing here. And that's it.
And which line was the last one on?
Give me a second. $278.
278, got that.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Before we vote to approve the minutes, I want to go back and make sure that everything that Board Member Jefferson said was definitely in the, was it, did she say that the last meeting? I want to make sure before we amend it.
I'm gonna go back and rewatch the recording of the last meeting. And
What now?
I'm gonna go back and watch the recording of the last meeting and then corroborate that with what she said here.
Okay, so
And
we'll
then-
wait before we.
Yeah, I'll make sure that that's correct before we put that in.
So I have a question concerning that. Since I'm being singled out in reference to my comments, then I think that these whole minutes need to be redacted and redone according to what everyone said that evening. Because I clearly said what I said, but a member should not be singled out if a member is correcting her statement just because there are certain people on the board that may be offended by those comments.
I can go back and check all of
I just
the,
want to make sure we,
Yeah.
check everything.
yeah, I'll go back and
Before we
check all of
approve,
them.
Other things, okay? That's fine, but I just want to make sure that we. do that.
Okay,
Thank
will
you.
do.
I'm sorry. I just want to make sure.
Yes.
That,
Excuse me. Madam Chair, I have one
yes.
thing. I have one thing.
yes, sir. Please, no.
Line 412. I think that's page
You said
page 10. 412, page 10. At the very top,
Yes.
where it says Secretary Treasurer Julian Reasonover said, I am not clear on the motion. Is this just to establish a bank now? I think that bank account.
Yes, got it.
That's it, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Next, are there any additions, deletions, or amendments to the agenda?
Excuse me.
Now, this isn't an addition, this is just an add-on.
Yes.
That's not an addition.
That's not an addition, but we can make sure that the page, the replacement page was added to the bylaws.
Okay, can you,
Madam Chair, there was the bylaws, the draft of the bylaws that was included with the BIDA packets. There's the last page of that needs to be replaced. And I'm just asking that the document that's going to be adopted for review in the minutes will be the one that is on this single handout for today. There was an inadvertent item missing that I left out, and I added it. So if that would be included in the item for the bylaws update, then I want to make certain that it's included as part of the adopted agenda with the revised page.
That's the one with PSA.
Yes, it's just the last single page should be replaced from the page that was provided to the board in its packet. And it's just a single line on the last page, a single sentence added. So that would be the official document for your consideration and discussion tonight.
And I think it's the page before the signature page, right? Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Hannah. It's not the last page.
Yeah, it's
so
like
it's
the second to last.
The page before the signature page. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
do we have a motion to add? Make sure that's included. To adopt it.
With that inclusion.
Motion.
You still need to make a motion, right?
Yeah, motion.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay, thank you. Do we have any announcements? None? I want them to go ahead and play that second video.
Walt Bellamy's basketball player, played for 13 years, retired with the Atlanta Hawks in 1974. After retiring, we moved to College Park, the city of College Park, which is a city that he really loved. He was on several boards. He actually, at Lakeshore High School, the high school that I went to, he was on the PTA and several booster clubs. He tried to fit in wherever he could get in. He's very active. He was the president of the YMCA, International Cultural Events. Also served for like 15 years with the city BIDA. He loved College Park. He loved people. He resided in College Park. He just loved being active, loved helping people. He wanted to make the city of College Park better. If anything that he could do for College Park, he would bust his tail to make College Park greater or better. He just loved the city. That's where he lived. He just wanted to make it better.
He was a gentle giant, and I say that not because of his height, but because of his heart. He was a tremendous man. And the state of Georgia knew it. He was recognized in the state. He was recognized in College Park. He was recognized in so many cities, not just in Georgia, but across the country. And so to have him as a neighbor was an honor for me and an honor for so many others that lived on our street. That even if we didn't know he was home, people would blow when they went past his house. That's how great it was in our minds.
Hearing that my father is receiving this Lifetime Achievement Award is incredible. It's awesome. It touches my heart, our hearts, my mom and myself and my family. We really appreciate this honor that you still remembering my father and his accolades and the things they have done for the city, and that you still remembered him. It's a great honor, a great honor. I really appreciate it. We do.
And I thought it was fitting to listen at Mr. Walt Bellamy before we began our meeting. I personally knew Walt, and he was a very big inspiration. He loved BIDA, and he always wanted BIDA to do what it was supposed to do. And I just thought it was fitting. But I want to say a few words. I just want to say this right now, not because of position and not because of title, but because of the timing. As a board member, I am a product of this authority. I have seen what it can do. I have seen how it shapes opportunity. I have seen how decisions made at this table can open doors or close them. And I have lived it. I was removed. I was reappointed, and I stand here today not with bitterness, but with clarity. For such a time as this, that matters. It matters because leadership is not about comfort. It is about calling. It is not about egos. It is not about stewardship. And if I am honest, this moment requires something deeper from all of us. We're not just here casually. We're not here accidentally. We're not here with simply just to fill a seat. We're here as a defining intersection in the history of BIDA and the history of College Park. We're standing on the shoulders of servant leaders who have fought for us to have a seat at this table, fought for inclusions on boards, in departments, in positions of influence, in jobs within this community that looks like us. It has not always been like this. Before we move into the business of this meeting, I need to take a step back. I did it wrong, I'm sorry. I did it wrong.
This is where it goes to five, right? Yeah.
Access was not always available. Voices was not always heard. Opportunities that were not always equitable. But others carried the weight so that we could carry responsibility. And now the question before us is simple. Will we honor their sacrifice? BIDA was established under the laws of the state of Georgia with real authority, real independence, real responsibility. This is not a symbolic leadership. This is a structural leadership. And what we do now becomes the blueprint. And what a blueprint for those who have sacrificed, for those who have prayed, for those who have built but did not reap the wealth of their labor, for generations who were delayed but not denied. So let me say this clearly. We will have differences. We will have strong opinions. We will have difficult conversations. But what we cannot afford is division. We cannot afford ego. We cannot afford distractions. We cannot afford to be pulled off the mission. The people of College Park deserve economic development that brings jobs, that increase revenues, that strengthens neighborhoods, that builds generational stability. And we must do it the right way, with transparency, with discipline, with accountability, with unity of purpose, even when personalities differ. I stand before you today not to relive the past, but to lead forward. So with saying that, I want us to move forward in other announcements.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I'm sorry, there is nothing for an executive session tonight, and I know we adopted the agenda. If the chair would like to entertain a motion to remove executive session item 10 and 11 from the adopted agenda. That will be appropriate at that time, unless any other member has some executive session item, but I do not have anything for executive session tonight.
That's what we're gonna remove, we're not gonna have that. Do I have a motion to remove executive session from the agenda?
Motion.
10 and 11. I have a motion, by Board Member Resinova. Do I have a second?
Second, so nobody has anything, right?
Nobody has anything for executive session? Okay.
All right, second.
There was a second by, Vice Mayor Carnes. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next, we will have old business. We will have an update regarding the Keller Williams unauthorized real estate commission by interim city manager Michael Hicks.
Madam Chair and the rest of the BIDA board, wish I had more tangible information to share with you, but I do have a statement here I'd like to read from our attorney, Winston Denmark, who's handling that case. He said, City Manager, regarding the Keller Williams litigation update, our firm has assisted on behalf of the city with engaging Clint Rucker to handle this matter. Mr. Rucker will be available to attend the April BIDA meeting and provide a report regarding the status of the litigation and next steps. So to summarize, they've engaged Clint Rucker to handle the matter, and he will be here at the April BIDA meeting to give a report and an update. A year back.
This matter is very important to the authority. So we definitely, excuse me, I have something.
Yes, I have a question for
Okay,
City Manager.
Board Member Resinova.
Who is Clint Rucker?
Clint Rucker is an attorney that's been hired by Winston Denmark Ashby to handle the Keller Williams litigation.
Okay.
Hired through our city's law firm.
Madam Chair?
Yes,
So
Mr. White.
Clint Rucker used to be an assistant district attorney under Paul Howard. He's a big-time lawyer.
Mhm.
He's really highly qualified. He worked there for 25 years. He went out on private practice, and you couldn't pick anybody with a bigger pedigree than Clint Rucker.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Aiden. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Excuse me. Okay, thank you. I'll just make sure. Just make sure, we have him. Just follow up. Next is the BIDA board retreat. This retreat will provide an opportunity for us to step back and focus on strategic direction of the authority, including governance, financial structure, and the role in supporting economic development for the city. And we'll have Hannah to do that for us.
So we were just trying to figure out some dates that might work for the retreat. We also are thinking about the College Park Golf Course. So I've been in conversation with Ms. Vanderbilt, who is, and the director of the College Park Golf Course to set that up. But we definitely need tentative dates, and we're thinking about April. It would be a 2-day retreat, likely Friday evening and then Saturday during the day. And we also did want to invite other boards to also come and participate if necessary. So should I give out some dates for the board?
Please.
Okay, so we have for April, we have the 17th and 18th. We have the 10th and 11th. Still in April? Yes, still in April. So April 10th and 11th, April 17th and 18th. Do either of those work for everybody?
City manager, where we at on, are those any of the budget dates? April 10th, 11th, oh, sorry. Yeah, April 10th, 11th, 17th, or 18th.
April 10th might be a budget date.
I will check those dates now, stand by.
Okay,
Hannah, did we check those dates before we?
Yes, I'm checking right now.
Budget hearings are in the evening. So
Yeah.
what's the time frame for whatever day we do the retreat?
So it would be Friday evening and Saturday during the day.
So, Madam Chair, I think when the executive committee met to talk about this, I think we discussed not starting in the evening on Friday, starting earlier on Friday, so we can have a whole day of activities, and then beginning the next day. So I think it'll be during the day on Friday.
Okay. Got it. So during the day Friday then.
And I also want to ask, what kind of input of what, ideas of things, even for planning, as we plan for a date. What ideas do you all have, in the board members?
Well, I think we just, I think it should be part brainstorming session, ideas and new ideas and thoughts about, if there's something we need to change. And keep in mind, we're approving and amending our bylaws tonight, before we have a retreat, which I don't have an issue with, but just FYI there.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
So, and I've been having discussions with you, and I know we've been sort of proactive in thinking about having a substantive retreat where you will have speakers, presenters that will give you knowledge, insight, and help the board sort of find things or experience things or hear information that you might not otherwise hear when you're all in one room. You may hear them individually. And so with that, we have, and I can't call name, I don't want to call any names, so we have at least 3 tentative presenters who are very knowledgeable in development, doing economic development, underwriting for financing, and experience in dealing with development authorities like BIDA. I would also ask, and Madam Chair, if you would allow me to, we talked about this earlier today.
To share.
Yeah, to share. I believe in order to have a really good retreat, a really substantive retreat, you need good facilitators. You need facilitators who are knowledgeable in how the local government works and how development authorities work. And so I was a part of a retreat where a company called Lead Gov presented and facilitated, and it was one of the best facilitated retreats I had ever seen. They were engaging. It wasn't them standing at the podium just talking and lecturing to the board or the governing authority that they were presenting at that time. They were interactive. They understood. They did all of their prep work to understand what the nature of BIDA will be and how interaction with the city and about College Park. And they will bring out things in the board members that will make it interactive and collaborative and not just someone standing there lecturing to you all. And so the cost for them to do a 2-day facilitation is $18,000. And when I brought that up to the chair, I told her that I would bring this up to the board. They are good. They are good. And I have seen them. And that doesn't include just coming to doing the retreat. They follow up with deliverables. They come back and they'll explain. They'll do some things that will make a well-rounded investment. I don't think BIDA has done a lot of training this year, and we have money in the training budget. And I would recommend that this board consider utilizing them. And then what they're going to do over the next few weeks, they will send out assessments to you all, each of you. They will get some information. They're going to compile that information so that when they're talking to you all and presenting, it's not cold. They're going to get some things so that you will feel like you know them and they know you. And I would really recommend if you all would authorize the engagement of this firm to facilitate your retreat over 2 days and with the ensuing follow-up.
Okay, Mr. Hicks.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Reginald.
So Attorney Wiley, is there an ethics component inside of what they do?
They certainly can do it. They do all kinds of training. They actually have an ethics unit, and they actually do webinars for government. And so we can add that in over 2 days. So not only will they, we can put that in, board member reads it over, but we also, I advised them that we were going to have a larger meeting with larger groups within the city on the second day. And they were like, great. And so they can help facilitate how these various groups and BIDA can work together for the benefit of the College Park as a whole. They're really good and comprehensive at what they do. And I don't normally, so the $18,000, well, it might sound a lot, it might sound like a lot, but it really isn't, for getting substantive facilitation of a retreat where you want to make a difference and move forward and get ideas. And you get what you pay for is what I'm going to leave with.
Okay, Mr. Hicks.
Madam Chair, I've got a comment and then I'll go back to answering Councilman Khan's question. Does BIDA have any strategic goals or core values? You do have those.
No, I was nodding, Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes,
I was nodding because that's what we need to have, and certainly a part of planning this will be involving you as well, because I think BIDA needs to be on one accord with the city on these goals, these development goals, comprehensive plan, where all of that is, we're all a family and we work together for the good of the citizens. And so we need to have mission statements and things like that aligned with you, Mr. City Manager, and what you all are doing at the city.
Yes. So the reason I ask that is because we are going on a retreat tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, of the department heads, where we're going to concentrate on the city's strategic goals. And I'll be more than happy to come to the retreat and share those goals, being chair of the committee. And also the core values. City has redone their core values, and I'll be more than happy to share those. But I wanted to see if BIDA had any kind of strategic planning so that when you start to spend money, when you start to look at land acquisition, it's tied back to a particular goal so you can see where the fund is going. So I'll be more than happy to help with that in terms of strategic planning. And also to answer Councilman Khan's question, he asked about these dates, April 10th, 11th, 17th, and 18th, and Councilman Khan's were clear because the first budget hearing starts on April 8th, April 13th, and 15th, so we're good.
Great. All right.
Now you're back.
Okay, 17, 18 is good. Okay, Board Member Jefferson.
So in reference to your question, City Manager, so BIDA did do a strategic analysis and goals for the city. We did do that. And it is on record, and Hannah and Yaquis, you should have access to that server. And it was more than an 80-page document. And it was approved by this board in the previous year. So we did bring in a minority group firm that was certified in strategic planning and goals, but it did not cost $18,000. So I recommend, I understand your recommendation, Attorney Wiley. My issue is, I don't know if you had solicited those services for that company to represent BIDA before it was presented to the board. So I just, have concerns in reference to that. I also have concerns that if we were to bring in a consultant, that we could have done, that company can do a presentation, or we could have aligned ourselves to do a RFP or some nature to allow other consulting companies to be able to compete for the
Madam Chair.
Strategic goals consulting. But yes, we did a very thorough strategic goal planning for this board in reference to our charter and our bylaws. and our SOP, and it was excellent. But I don't think that, I don't know if Hannah or Yaquis, if you guys have accessed that information, it should have been readily accessible to, in the orientation package for that revitalization. It was a revitalization strategic goals for the community as well as for the businesses.
We'll look it up.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Board Member Jefferson, I would never solicit and make any kind of binding comments to any vendor without bringing them to this board. What I did was I solicited information so that I could bring this company to the board's attention. And I did so because I have personally witnessed the excellent work that they do. And so I don't have, BIDA does not have to do an RFP to have a facilitator for a retreat. They certainly could, the board could decide to do that, but there is no legal requirement that BIDA do that. And this solicitation or this outreach, this outreach that I did in anticipation of tonight's meeting for a discussion was just being proactive so that we can keep the tight schedule for this retreat on track so that we can have, this board can have a substantive retreat with real information in the same way that I am helping to find speakers, and we'll add the city manager as a speaker. I know that we are operating in the absence of an executive director. I know a formal executive director because the city manager is wearing about 3 or 4 hats. I don't know how he does it, but he's wearing them well. But filling in the gap, we began reaching out to potential speakers. We had a really good retreat last year, in February of last year, and I want us to expand on that and keep getting better and better. So LeaderGov, I said Liga, it's LeaderGov. They do all types of leadership strategic plans. We're not hiring them to be a consultant. So to be clear, if this board does that, what the request from me is that you need a professional facilitator. So I would love to see the strategic plan that you're referencing, and then we can give it to LeaderGov and they can incorporate that into the training, the retreat. But I think it's telling that no one knows about this document. I've not seen it, and so I believe you that it exists, but this is the kind of thing that the board could learn about and hear about as facilitated by some professional facilitators to keep it moving, to keep it relevant, to stay on point. And they also help plan the retreat and the topics. And so I would love for you to be one of those persons who will meet with them during the planning process so that you can get a feel too as to how good they are and what a benefit it will be.
I have a question.
Okay.
Board Member Jefferson, do you remember the year that document was produced, or is there any more information that you can give us so we can find it?
Do you have the copy of that retreat? Sabrina would have transferred that information to you on the server.
Yeah, I can check her files. And
Yeah.
you said it was revitalization?
Yeah, it was the strategic planning goals and community revitalization packet.
Okay.
It used to be included in our orientation packet when Sabrina was here.
What year was that?
It would have been back in between 2020 and 2023.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mayor. You can speak.
To Board Member Jeff's point, I believe Clara Axon was the person who facilitated that retreat. So that information should be readily available in our records.
I can research and find it.
Okay. Hannah's going to research that and pull it up so that all the members can see it and get a copy. Any more discussion about the retreat? Facilitator, we're just trying to get some direction.
So, it seems like that we're kind of at a standstill until we look at this particular document. Is that correct?
Yes,
So, with that being said,
plus, I mean, that doesn't stop us from looking at if do we want to have a facilitator, there might be something else too.
okay, well, I definitely think we should look at having a professional facilitator, because what I'm hearing and what I've seen or had the experience of being on other boards is that there was always a concentration on building foundational principles. And we need that. We really need that. Things such as the topics that Attorney Wiley mentioned, ethics component, and other things that are going to help us make better decisions about how we govern ourselves and we do our jobs. We have to remember we are public servants. So we need to have as much information that we can and guided by somebody that does that. You know, I don't think $18,000 for something like that is extravagant. I've seen or been at those type of things where a company charged $32,000 an hour. You know, it wasn't long, but that's what they charged. So I think we really need to consider, one, getting that particular plan in our hands as soon as possible so we can look at it, and two, moving on to get more information or maybe a presentation or something from this company.
And I certainly, James, I sent you a link to the website if they want to put, if the board desires. But I certainly, the goal would be to give the facilitators everything that they need in order to fashion and tailor the retreat to BIDA. And so the document, Board Member Jefferson, that you referenced would certainly be placed in their hands for them to incorporate, along with the strategic information that the city manager is speaking of. And if we need to marry some things, we should do it. But that's the whole point of the retreat, is to bring these things forward and make each board member knowledgeable of its existence so that you all can be informed and make the best decisions that you're capable of making as public officials.
I don't have nothing to just say, you know, April's around the corner. So I suggest we go with the suggestion of the city BIDA attorney, go ahead and pick some dates now, and then get that document and forward it to them so they can incorporate it, so we can just move on. We've been beating this to death. So that'd be my recommendation.
So do we have a motion?
Would you like to see the website?
Oh, please, James, can you share the website for the board?
Okay.
It'll be quick. I just wanted to sort of see the different blocks. I wanted everyone to be able to see the different blocks that they offer, training, workshops. Oh, there they are. So this is LeaderGov. And if you go down to the bottom, before we go to the next page of it, just go down to the bottom if you don't mind. Scroll to the bottom of the page. Yeah, Fairburn. City of Fairburn. That's where I saw them at, City of Fairburn. Oh. And I first saw them at the City of Fairburn, board members, a retreat, a 2-day retreat. And then we can go to the retreats. You can see they do retreats up top, retreats. And Board Member Jefferson, that's how I contacted them. Contact me, I like to chat about a retreat, and if you'll slide down, that's all I did. No, I wanted to just make sure that you understood the length of my, extent of my contact and outreach. And you see they work with us to create an engaging, collaborative retreat. But then this is and I'll send the link out to each of you, but this is the, and if you go to workshops, this is just what they do. And scroll down. That's it, board members.
Like that, no cost.
Okay, so
Let's get that.
Okay, let's move forward.
Vice Mayor said, let's get the no-cost workshop.
Take me to the no-cost page.
So, Madam Chair, if you would entertain I guess the date would be April 17th and 18th is what I'm hearing, and to authorize the chair to sign engagement with LeaderGov to be a facilitator for the retreat.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we had a retreat on April 17th, 18th, that we authorize you to go ahead and engage in a contract with said company.
For 18,000.
Pay them by whatever.
Okay, do we have a second?
Could you repeat that motion?
I'm agreeing with you.
No,
Make a
no,
motion.
I didn't hear you.
Make a motion to have the retreat on April 17th and 18th. Authorize the chair to engage this company that we, whatever, Lead Gov, whatever they are, to facilitate our facility. And that'll be my motion.
Do we have a second?
Thank you. Second.
Okay, motion by Board Member Wyatt, second by Mr. Risanova. Any discussion?
Ask for the no-cost.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
No, discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry, got one discussion, I'm sorry. Dr. Williams?
I wanted to find out if this company had anything cheaper than $18,000.
What I saw was $9,000 a day, and so because we're doing 2 days, what I will do is ask them if I don't know if Saturday is going to be a full day or whatever, so 18,000, so it would be up to $18,000 and it could be less, and I will try to see if it's going to be any half days or whatever, so. But they did tell me most of their time and work will be in the preparation stage. You're going to spend a lot of time getting to know BIDA. But I will check.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes, Mayor.
Is this budgeted?
It's for, in our training budget.
What is our line item for training?
You look, can you look to see what line item that is for our training?
And while she's looking, I just recall that we only set aside training for the Savannah trip. I don't recall setting aside this amount for a actual board retreat. And so if that's not the case and we don't have sufficient funds in that training line item, where will it come from?
Here's living enhancement. Yeah. We got a spot. We got somewhere to get it at.
Okay.
So under convention/meetings, we have the BIDA retreat line item,
And what's the amount?
2,840.
Say it again.
$2,840.
Each member?
No,
Just for training?
for the BIDA retreat. That's all for the whole BIDA retreat.
Oh, you said for retreat?
Yeah, for the BIDA.
But also for training,
For training,
even like the Savannah trip, what type of,
so that was under conventions,
and what do we have in there?
and that was about 6,000 for that. But we had made a motion to allocate more money to that.
We can't hear.
Oh, sorry. It was 6,000 that was budgeted for that, but we made a motion to add more money to that budget for that to allocate. I think we spent like 7,500 about instead of 6,000.
Can we move?
Madam Chair, we can bring those numbers back to you if you don't mind. We can look and give you some definite numbers
Okay.
if you give us a day. Our Keith will go. Because I went through the, we discussed about the budget, so if you don't mind, we'll bring that number back in training dollars and how much you have in conventions and meetings.
In meetings.
Whatever you want us to investigate, we'll do that for you.
Yes, and see if it's any other.
Just for training? You want us to just look for training?
Yes.
Okay, we'll do that.
Miscellaneous.
Contingency, whatever.
Contingency, see if.
We definitely have it in the budget for conventions/meetings.
We say that again, Hannah.
We definitely have it in the budget for conventions/meetings. It just wasn't like the line item, but we have it.
So you said that we do have money in the budget to cover 18,000 or less for our retreat.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we needed to know. Okay. All
So
right.
that's, I have a question.
Okay,
So that's
Mr. Reed.
our BIDA budget, correct?
Yes,
Can we get a copy of that?
yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Madam Chair, is that your desire to give everybody a copy?
Yes, please.
Okay.
This is the existing budget and the one that's being revised, or is that where, I just want to be clear. Because there's a revised, budget's coming up to revise, and then there's the existing
Right.
budget.
And so, Madam Chair, we gonna reach out to you and see if we could schedule your first round of budget meeting next week, since we
Next
couldn't
week,
do it
right.
today. So I'll be in touch with you to get a date as soon as possible next week.
Madam
Then
Chair.
you can decide who you want to bring to that budget meeting with you.
Okay, that'll be fine.
Man, I'd like to get back to the motion. We can figure the budget out later.
Okay, so, all in favor? Aye. And she'll raise her hands, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Oppose.
All opposed. Board Member Jefferson. Any abstentions? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, we're going on.
Thank you, board members.
Next, we'll have the BIDA bylaws and review. And we'll have the committee to lead that. Start with Dr. Williams.
So in your packet, there's the amendments, the suggested amendments that the committee made. And we are here to listen to your input, to have a discussion whether or not these suggestions will be adopted or not. So I'm opening up the floor to the board to hear your comments on the suggested amendments.
Madam, Committee
Mr. Wiley.
Chair, Committee Chair, is it possible we just take one page, tell us what the changes, we can see what the changes are, just go page to page so we can finish doing it, just everybody look at the whole thing at one time?
That'll be easier.
Well, since you all received your packet, I trust that everybody
Okay.
read it, so we
Okay.
are here for your feedback.
Okay.
I don't want to go line by line because
There you go.
it's already marked.
All right, Madam Chair, and I have one change I would like to be considered. I only have one,
Okay,
and that would be on packet page, whatever the one they passed out, the new one.
It'll be page 20, the new page 26.
Okay, new page 26.
Yes, with the blue, yes.
Right. The only change I have on the whole thing, I thought it was great. Y'all did good work, whoever did it. But where it says on the PSA and on the Bylaws Authority, it said approve of at least 6 members. I like to make that 5 members instead of 6, and I'm okay with everything else.
And I don't have an issue.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Vice Mayor.
I'm fine with that change. Now, we also have a 6-member approval for the bylaws. Now, do we want those to match or?
Yes, I like for it to be 5 on both.
All right.
Anyone else?
Bylaws
Well,
of the
of
College
course,
Park
you know
Business
me.
and Industrial Development
Yes,
Authority as
Can't hear
amended.
you.
Board Member Jefferson.
So here's what I need to understand. So you're weakening the power of the Director of Finance, and you're giving that power to the Chair and the Assistant Secretary to approve invoices up to $9,999,000. When the city, the Director of Finance is our financial custodian. This board has never had a chair or assistant secretary to approve invoices. So if anyone gets the authorization as a chair to write up to $9,999, when in section 4, our Director of Finance, it says that they have sole custody of all funds. So that's a conflict of interest there. I have a question for Hannah. Do you currently approve any invoices? How does that process work when you receive the invoices?
When I receive the invoices, it goes to the chair, and then it's decided by the board if it's approved. And after the board approves it, it goes to the City of College Park process.
So when you enter the invoices into the City of College Park financial system, that gets directed to where? To pay accounts payable or Director of Finance?
After the board approves it, it gets routed to the budget analyst, and then it's like a whole system.
So,
depending-
excuse me.
Excuse me, I'm not
Jefferson.
finished. I'm not finished.
Okay.
I'm not finished. So, in that case, what I'm trying to get this city and the residents and the businesses to understand what's taking place here is to weaken the financial custodianship of the city to control the access to the funds. Right now, you do not approve funds, and the chair does not approve funds. That's totally different. What gets approved is by this board. The approval comes from this board. Then the disbursement gets initiated by you and then controlled up through the city. But what this is stating is taking away the sign from the Director of Finance from signing all payments and checks for the payment of the money. And it's giving that authority to the chair and to the assistant secretary or the secretary. So I want to make clear, I truly think that Attorney Denmark, we need to get something in line here with as far as this city funds, because these are not BIDA funds, these are city funds. And we need to get a statement from Winston Denmark, our financial advisor, Ed Wall. How does this conflict with the fact that our IGA agreement is not even finalized? But we're changing this bylaws to specifically take the power from the Director of Finance to put the power in the chair and the assistant treasurer to write checks and approve them. That is absolutely asinine to me.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Madam
Mr.
Chairman, if I can
Mr.
interject,
Rizzo first.
I think you were describing to Hannah what the role of the Secretary Treasurer might be. And I want the city attorney, I'm sorry,
That's okay.
forgive me, please.
That's all right.
Want Ms. Wiley, the BIDA attorney, to elaborate on that if she would.
To address So there's a difference between the secretary treasurer, which is a board member of BIDA, and the assistant secretary, which does clerk duties for the board. The charter identifies the positions, and so the secretary treasurer is an appointed person elected by this board. So we have the chair, the vice chair, secretary treasurer, we have an assistant secretary. So the bylaws do not ascribe any kind of financial duties to the assistant secretary, who is currently Hannah. The director of finance under the bylaws, and let me just say, the whole purpose of revising the bylaws is for the committee to bring back changes to change what's here to make it more workable. I will also note that the BIDA voted at its last meeting to have a bank account. We're going to talk about financial control policies. And so what was available or what was applicable 5 years ago, or whenever these were done, may not be applicable today. That's my understanding from attending the committee meetings. Section 4 of the bylaws, the director of finance is a city employee. The BIDA can't tell a city employee what to do. BIDA can work with the city manager and work with our governing authority. And as I understand it, the director of finance will still be the custodian of the funds. And let's not conflate being the custodian of the funds with having the authority to disperse funds or receive funds. So the city finance director will be able to see the account, get the statements, look at them, reconcile them, work with, bring reports back to this body, or make certain that they get reports through an executive director and or the city manager each month. So there's going to be full transparency. But in the same way that if you have an account at Truist Bank, the bank is the custodian of your funds. But being a custodian doesn't mean that anybody at that bank can withdraw funds from your account. They're holding it in safekeeping, and they are making certain that there is no fraud or undue attempt to take your money from unknown persons or unauthorized persons. So I think it's important. Being a custodian doesn't mean that you control disbursement. The disbursements will be determined by a process where this board will, and we'll talk about that when I get to the financial policy, creation of a financial policy, the safeguards that you'll put in place, and then the bank safeguards. And Mr. Wall will talk about the Georgia Fund 1 and how the safeguards are already embedded there. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you.
Okay, hold
No.
1 second.
No, it does not, Attorney Wiley, because.
Hold 1 second. Mr. Board Member Jefferson, Mr. White was next. Okay, all right.
In your file that you sent us in the packet, now what you just stated there is a contradiction. It has here, the director of the Department of Finance for the City of College Park shall have the care and the custody of all funds of the authority, and shall deposit the same in such bank or banks as the authority or the city may designate. The city director of finance, now it has crossed out. This is the piece that you're taking out. Shall sign all orders.
I'm not taking anything out. The committee took it out. Board Member Jefferson.
Well, the committee.
Let's be clear.
Shall sign all orders and checks for the payment of the money, but it shall pay out and disperse such monies. Now, the fact that you took away the signature, like I said, the purpose of this committee is to weaken the bylaws, to take away that financial power from the city of the director of finance to have control on signing off on the checks and the disbursements for this board, because you clearly took out that power. Shall sign all orders and checks for the payment of the money. You took that power away from the director of finance, and I think that that's a conflict of interest with us not having an IGA agreement with the city, and we're exercising city funds from our budget.
It's not a conflict of interest. I'm not sure where the conflict of interest would be. But again, being a custodian of the fund, being a custodian, your bank is the custodian, the bank president, but the bank president cannot does not control your money or own the money. Also, I think it's important to note that these bylaws were revised by the committee in light of this board's action last month to establish a bank account. And so the custodian, if we have something to be deposited, a check to be deposited, the custodian will get it from this board. If there's something comes in and he will receive it. If this board says, pay some money out, that information will go to the custodian, they'll pay it out. So I don't understand the conflict of interest, but Madam Chair, I'll yield back.
Point of order, Madam Chair. Point of order, Madam Chair.
Okay.
According to the new rules, time should be up.
You're taking time.
It's beyond the financial custodianship.
She spoke more than twice already.
They have the care and the custody of all funds of this authority. They have the directive to sign and pay out. And you're removing that power. And everybody should be aware in this city what's taking place.
Time is up. Okay, thank you.
Well, this was one of the issues out of this bylaw change that I did have some heartache on. Now, I was part of the committee, and when we met, the three of us, the consensus was to split the signatures between the city and BIDA. At that meeting, the thought was 2 signature lines where the city finance director would sign and the chair of BIDA would sign. Now, personally, for me, I felt a little more comfortable with that. I think it was a little more check and balance that direction. And let me be clear, I don't think we're going to have any issues with BIDA, with discrepancies with funds in the future at all. I think we're going in the right direction. I think city managers got good oversight and is going to make sure things are going to go as advertised before any funds are released. But I don't want it to be a situation where someone says, well, hey, they did that on their own. We don't know anything about that check being signed. So I'm kind of torn with this one. And at the end of the day, you know, if there is a money issue, which I don't think there'll ever be again, the public is not going to ask, well, who was the custodian of the bank account? The public's going to ask who signed off on the check. And you know, so I just want us to be careful where ultimately at the end of the day, if there is an issue, residents are not going to say BIDA did this or BIDA did that. They're going to look at the mayor and council. Because at the end of the day, that they may not have an understanding of BIDA's function in their role. But they do understand who's responsible for BIDA ultimately and responsible for city funds ultimately. So I'm torn with this one. Now, if there's a compromise where we have a checking account with maybe with 3 signature lines, where the city finance director is signing off before money goes out the door. The second compromise would be a threshold for the 2 signatures. So
that's why I was going, Councilman.
yeah, I think Tracy, yeah.
Okay, so Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Because I think our time is up on this issue. So, Councilman, you went exactly where I was going to go. I'm going to make that second change is what is $9,999, make that $4,999.
Okay, wait.
Lower the threshold.
It's on page 20, the new page 26.
The new page, yeah.
The new page 26.
Instead of almost 10,000, let's cut that in half.
Okay.
And then I think I'll be fine with it.
Okay, so anything over $5,000.
Yes. You got to come to the board.
Come to the board.
Right. But at the end of the day, I understand that. At the end of the day, who are the 2 signatures on checks over $5,000? That's.
Well, it doesn't. So, Councilman Corn, at that point, it doesn't matter because they can't do it without the direction of the board. So at that point, it doesn't really matter.
If you'll read, Madam Chair, anything, it says, notwithstanding the foregoing, all expenditure approvals authorized by the BIDA Chair and Secretary Treasurer shall be reported to the board not later than the next regularly scheduled meeting of the board. And so the 0 to 4,999 is really for expedience, I'm assuming.
Got it.
And so, but they still have to come back and tell the board what happened. There will be a record of it publicly. That's what the bylaws say. Anything that's $5,000 or more will require a board vote. And so all the information will be made public, and it'll be transparent as to what's going on. And when it goes, I'm assuming when it goes over to the finance director to do what the board has instructed to do, he's going to make sure he has the minutes. He or she will have the bylaws, the minutes, and they'll see, okay, this was checked. This is consistent with what they said. As custodian of the funds, I am authorized to do it. The same way your bank would do, and you write a check, and they make sure that it matches your signature or whatever. So that's the check and balance.
All right, Madam Chair, I call for the question.
Well, last thing, I'm okay with lowering that threshold, I'm fine with that. But on the other end, I think we need to have a top threshold. Now, my thinking is if anything goes over $50,000, I think that should require the finance director and the chair's signature. And I think we're covered in both directions that way.
This is just the presentation part, board members. So as further down, it's actual to adopt.
Right.
So I think when we get down to that, since the call for, there's no motion right now. This is just discussion. And so I think we'll add those changes when you all bring it, when it's under the action item up for the board.
I don't know why we gotta bring it back. We've agreed to the changes, that's what we keep putting stuff off and putting stuff out. If we agree to the changes from 6 to 5, make that threshold $4.99 instead of $9.99, and I'll agree 50,000. I don't think that matters, but I'll put it in there, and let's just approve the thing if we got the votes to approve.
That's the rest of the chair.
And so as I understand it, Madam Chair, it will be expenses between $0 and $4,999 can be approved by the chair and the secretary treasurer, which is the elected individual, not the assistant secretary, can administratively approve those pursuant to the bylaws. But by the next board meeting, that activity has to be on the agenda and disclosed to the board. So the full board will know. For anything over between $5,000 and $49,999 requires a board vote at a regular or special called meeting, and shall be approved by the board. Anything $50,000 or more still will have to be approved by the board at a regular special call meeting, but in addition to the BIDA chair and secretary treasurer signature, the city finance director shall also be a signatory.
That'll be my motion.
I second that.
We have a second, any discussion? All in favor, did y'all raise your hands?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Opposed.
One opposed, Board Member Jefferson, no abstentions, motion passes. Thank you. Hold on, Dr. Williams.
I just wanted to inform everyone that the committee meets next Tuesday, the 17th of March at 4 p.m. at City Hall.
Public meeting, all are welcome to attend.
Okay, thank you. Next, new business, financial obligations. Our next presentation is our financial advisor, Ed Wall, who will give us an overview regarding BIDA's financial obligations. And this discussion is important as we work to ensure transparency and full understanding of the authority financial position. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. That'd be separate. The general ledger report goes with this one.
You have some passage.
Yes, ma'am. No, the audit report now and the ledger now, Georgia Fund 1 letter. Can I help you pass it all out?
Oh, no.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, they're passing out the material for my presentation.
So why you didn't give it to her early so we have it in our packet or we can read it before we got it?
To you earlier. He was sick. It just wasn't included in the package.
He wasn't feeling well.
He had the flu. Give some grace, please.
You need a defense lawyer?
It sounds like it.
Okay. Something different? Okay.
Can you hand me one of them, Hawkeys?
So the packet that Hakis is handing out is the audit financial report from 2024 that includes BIDA's statements, pretty much how much money is in the accounts. And then the detailed general ledger report includes all of the expenses and revenues of the BIDA account, right? For the period of,
So the audit's just a 24, June 30, 24 audit report. That was one that Hawkeys gave out, and then Hannah handed out the general ledger. That was the line item about the debt that's owed by BIDA to the city from 2006 to 2026. So if I could, let's start off with the audit report, the document that says the City College Park 24 audit. If you would turn to the second page. These are the assets of BIDA for the audit. They call it the redevelopment authority. So if you look at the. Yes, sir.
yeah, my apologies. Sorry, I even did it in landscape and it was still very small. My apologies.
Don't make this legible so we can go over the finance. Can you put it up here?
Is it?
Put it up here.
Yeah, I can put it up. I can email it to James. Yes, I will.
You want me to email it?
I know, even if it's really small, but.
You want me to email it to you now? Can you find it, huh?
I can. That's not it. No, email it to you. I'll email it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I can't read it.
financial report, and you can flip the pages so it's like, so it's not to the side. Can you make it bigger?
Great. Yes, ma'am, perfect. Uh-oh.
You can just leave it like.
There we go. So y'all see the redevelopment authority is how the auditor classifies BIDA. And I've tried for years to get them to call it the BIDA fund, but they keep calling it the redevelopment authority fund. And I don't know where that ever came from. Yes, sir. And so you can see at June 30th, 24, the BIDA fund had $2,400,000 in its account as cash. And you can see these were the listing of assets. Notice here the other assets down here, other receivables, 28 million, lease receivable, 18 million. When we have pilot payments due from some of those hotels, the auditors record all the pilot payments for all 30 years, and then they record that as an asset, and that's what those are. You can see the land that BIDA owns is recorded at $38 million on the balance sheet. That was at cost. It's probably worth more than double that now. And that's the land that's recorded as an asset to BIDA. Next page, please. So here are the liabilities. And so here had the current liabilities, accounts payable, 500,000. If you would scroll down just a little bit further, where I wanted you to see the 9,704,000. This is a line item called advances from other funds. So that's the debt that BIDA owes the city's other funds. It owes electric fund, water and sewer fund, general fund. Then some of those funds themselves then owe money back to the general fund. And so LaTanya, Attorney Wiley, asked me, how did that $9,700,000 get created? What is the specifics about that? And that's where the general ledger comes in. And before I get to the general ledger, in a nutshell, most of that money was created over the years when the city would purchase land. The land was recorded as an asset to BIDA, and the money that paid for the land was recorded as an advance, a due from. You and I, in general, walking around sense, would call it a loan from the city to BIDA. And so nearly all of this comes from land purchases where the land got recorded a quick claim to BIDA, and the money that paid for it got recorded as a loan. And I can go to the general ledger if y'all want me to. It's complicated. Dr. Williams and I hate reading it because they have journal entries going backwards and forwards. There's a big item in there, the Lottie Miller land purchase. We used to call it the master land, Councilman Carn, and it was $4.5 million. And so this 9,704,000 figure had been as high as 13 million at one time. And we always said that we would pay it down when we sold land. And we haven't been able to sell land for years and years and years. And so the auditor came to the city and said, since you haven't paid that off and there's not a repayment plan, we need to write it all off. And so the accounting department, I worked with Malden Jenkins, Doug Moses, the auditor, and we came up with a plan that every year, whether land got sold or not, the city would write off 500,000 of that balance. And so every year, $500,000 of it gets written off, and that has gone from 13 million down to 9,704,000 by writing off 500,000. A big lick did get reduced when y'all sold property to Northside Hospital, and that was 1,500,000, and that reduced that balance. And so it was a high of 13, it's gone down to 9,704,000. And it's always been the policy, unwritten, between you and the city, that you would pay it off from future land sales. Madam Chair, I think Attorney Wiley is busting a gut to say something.
No, I don't have anything to say. Thank you.
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So going back to page 1 of the audit.
Go back to page 1, the assets.
Yeah, I'm looking at the other receivables and the lease receivable. Back on the audit.
So it'd be these line items here, lease receivable, 929,000, and other receivables, 1,752,000.
I wanted to ask, how are those applied?
So,
To say the debt, or whose money is it when the receivables come in?
so almost all of that money is either pilot payments or additional rent payments that are pledged to the payment of bonds. And several entities were late in paying what they were owed, and anything that's due within 1 year's time is recorded in current assets. See that big line item, current assets? So this was due within 1 year's time, but had not yet been collected. But all of that would have been pilot payments or additional rent payments, they call it, from the hotels, the office building, the items that are paid that are secure in bonded indebtedness.
Okay, and then going back up to the top, assets and deferred outflows,
Yes, ma'am.
those receivables as well.
Well, so this 2,000,004 is actually cash in pooled cash. So the city has one big omnibus account that has cash from all of its different funds. And then the city accounting department busted out into the different funds. So much electric, so much general fund. In city's pooled cash, 2,000,004 was listed as cash attributable to BIDA. Remember, that's a snapshot on June 30th, 2024.
So I'm thinking about BIDA paying off the debt. Let me say, has any other asset payments have they ever been applied to pay off the debt? Like whatever BIDA owns where there's income coming in, has that income ever been applied to the debt?
Yes, ma'am. So the $1,500,000 sales price for the land for Northside Hospital paid off the debt. And there's $500,000 a year just written off of the debt. I'm not aware of any other land sale that reduced the debt.
May I just, can you tell the Vice Chair about the 800,000, the administrative fees from bond revenue that, I guess there are 3 buckets of BIDA money per the constitutional charter, but the not restricted, what BIDA get was deemed BIDA funds and how that's booked and utilized. I think that's one of the questions that the Vice Chair, I'm sitting by the Vice Mayor, the Vice Chair asked during one of our meetings. So can you talk about that $800,000 and what that represents and whether or not it has been applied to the debt?
So, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, for the 2026 budget, the total revenues that were budgeted for BIDA were $15 million. $10.2 million was the sale of property that may or may not occur. So let's back that out. Now we're down to $5 million. $2,600,000 comes from pilot payments. Those were tax abatement transactions that BIDA has done since 2008 for a lot of the hotels around here, one of the office buildings. That money is taken to pay off debt service that BIDA issued on behalf of the city to get some of those projects up and going. So that's $2,600,000 of pilot payments. Federal grants were $225,000. That was applied for some specific project. That's a revenue. $1 million in miscellaneous revenue. Now let's talk about, that's where the catch-all is, $1 million in additional revenue. You all, when you do projects, bond issues as a conduit for private entities, you charge them an administrative fee equal to 1/8 of 1% of the principal amount of the bonds sold. That 1/8 of 1% doesn't have any debt associated with it. It doesn't go anywhere. And that 1/8 of 1% has just been used as a revenue in your BIDA budget. In the city, when it contributes money from other funds or it contributes money from hotel motel tax to balance your budget, that revenue makes them put in less money in order to balance the budget. Those fees, that $800,000 that I have come up with, is the 1/8 of 1% fees and a pilot payment on the office building of $130,000 that does not pay any debt service. And I add the 1/8 of 1% fees and that $130,000 a year, and I come up with about $800,000 out of the budget that is revenues that doesn't come from the city, is hotel motel tax revenues or general fund balance, and it's not pledged to any debt service.
And what does that mean, Ed? What does that mean? That's unencumbered, unrestricted revenue that is in one of the buckets in the constitutional charter that is by the revenue. And I know it's in the custodian, it's being held by the city, but I just want to be clear so that the public and everybody can understand. Took me a minute, I'm still learning. But that $800,000, don't want to start any fights, but that's unencumbered money that BIDA is legally entitled to by virtue of, you told me there's an IRS regulation that allows a conduit to get 1/8 of 1% like BIDA. So that's money that's unencumbered money.
Yes, ma'am.
Doesn't come from the city.
Yes, ma'am.
But that's legally
Available
tagged to
for
BIDA.
all of BIDA's purposes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
So I have a question, sir. I'm sorry, Madam Chairman, I have a question. So if that's the case, then why isn't some of that 9 million being charged out when we receive revenue?
So that revenue is being spent as soon as it comes in the door on operation costs. The things that you all spend money on as BIDA, legal fees, consulting fees, survey costs, training, that money gets spent as soon as it comes in the door for your operating costs. And so it's not available to pay down this debt. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Say what now?
Are you saying that BIDA has $800,000 in operational expense annually? Or is it less than that? And is there a difference between that $800,000 and what the actual operating expenses are?
So the budget shows for expenses, telephone was $94,000, legal fees were $250,000, audit fees $5,000, appraisals $30,000, survey fees $30,000, municipal planning $25,000, some kind of equipment cost $42,000, paying agent fees $15,000, demolition $30,000, miscellaneous $20,000, has some kind of contractual services $120,000. I mean, all that adds up. I don't know what it all is necessarily, but there is about $1 million a year and look like operating costs that's not associated with debt.
Well, you mentioned that phone service for BIDA, almost $100,000. I can't think of an exclusive BIDA telephone or telephone system that would cost nearly $100,000. So I want to take another look at that. But bottom line is that we want to sell some land this year. Obviously, we're long overdue for it. Every year that we have our audit, we get a ding in our audit because we had committed to selling X amount of dollars worth of land. That was the hope and projection for the new budgets. If there is $800,000 of available money or whatever have you, I think that's a great thing. But at the end of the day, generally the payback to that $9 million that the city has loaned out, I guess, so to speak, a lot of that comes from the power department, I understand still.
Yes,
the great majority of that is there. So generally when BIDA sells something, the city is first in line as the first debt owed. That's the idea. Now, do they get all of the money? That doesn't necessarily mean that, but we're definitely long on, not a sufficient amount of land sales. So we want to sell land, but we don't want to just sell just offhand to the first person that walks up to the door for a land sale that's not in the city's interest either. But we want to try to move forward with it, and I think this year we're going to hopefully make some good progress. So.
And we do have the $10 million contract with PMG. They're supposed to close this year.
And one of the problems and issues we got to understand, y'all, and I hope on this retreat we can talk about that. Yeah. The city of College Park has to close on deals, bottom line, if we're going to make monies and keep our tax digest low for our residents. But that is not all on BIDA. This retreat needs to include understanding that the other boards have to work with BIDA and understand what direction we're all going in. So that's very important. BIDA can say, we want to do this, but the planning commission may say, I'm trying to do this. And Board of Zoning and Appeals may be trying to do the other thing. And then you have city planning department may be looking at it a whole nother way. And the engineering department may be looking at it another direction. But we all need to get on the same page, and one of the good things about having a good city manager is putting those folks together and understanding this is the direction we're all sailing in, and we want to keep that direction so we can close on some things. And closing is not easy to do. It just doesn't come out of this room. Everybody has to understand what it is we're trying to do. So, yeah.
I have a question. Mr. Wall, question on the auditors with the debt. So you said that they write off at least $500,000 a year. Is there any type of action items from the auditors to state that when we do sell land, it goes towards that debt?
So it is an understanding from the auditor to the city that in fact will occur. As Councilman Carn pointed out, and Board Member White has pointed out, he doesn't have the understanding you'll get all of it. That you all could decide that you took 50% of the land proceeds and paid down debt. He just needs to see progress on the promise by the city and BIDA that when you sell land, you'll use the proceeds to pay down debt. It doesn't necessarily have to be 100% of it.
So how does that impact our bond rating when we sell land and we decide to take 50% and we don't use it towards that debt? How does that impact it?
So if you were to sell land and not use it to pay down any of the debt,
Yeah.
The auditor would give a finding, and they would probably ask to write off all the debt, because that would be a violation of the agreement that they had with the city.
Wow.
So it would affect us negatively if you didn't pay down some of the debt.
And he's right. Technically speaking, as BIDA sells land, they're supposed to pay down the debt first and foremost. At the same time, here's my thinking, and I'm just talking for myself. The more land that BIDA sells, I think the more the city is apt to make sure BIDA has some funds in their account. So that's where I am.
Madam Chair, I'm just gonna make one statement. This, my personal opinion, as a former council member and BIDA member, I think we need to ensure that when we sell land, that we pay the city back a portion of that money first. I think the city has come a long way in sort of trying to get BIDA separate. And I think BIDA owes to the city that if we sell land, our first priority should be to pay down some of the debt. And that would be my position. We can't pay it all, but we do a 2-year plan or a 3-year plan. But I just for me, I will always vote to pay the city some of their money back if we sell land.
And thank you, Madam Chair. The way the $500,000 per year write-off occurred, the auditor put the city on a 20-year payment plan. So 20 years at $500,000 a year was $10 million. And so that's how that 500,000 got arrived at.
Madam Chair, may I just clarify? I just want for the public that, and we're moving towards this. Thank you, Madam Chair, for asking Ed to bring this to clarification so that BIDA can understand its obligations, responsibilities. But I do want to make clear for the record that there is no agreement between, we're going to have one, but there's no formal loan repayment agreement between the city and BIDA, correct, Ed?
Correct.
So I think everyone here understands and says everyone's intentions and good, but I just want to make sure that when you say it'll be a violation of the agreement, when you were answering the question, you're speaking of the arrangement between the city and the auditor and not an agreement between BIDA and the city that BIDA isn't violating any type of formal agreement.
There's
Correct.
no formal written agreement, but there have been discussions over the years
Yes.
between the BIDA board
Yes.
and mayor and council that's what they would do. So when
Yes.
they promised the auditor that, it wasn't like the BIDA board or the mayor and council didn't know that was the deal.
Exactly. And the only thing I'm saying is that now, for posterity, we're in a position where we can formalize things, hopefully, so that 5 years from now, 15 years, everyone will see that, and it won't just be about an informal arrangement, and you won't have to come back and explain this all over again. That it will be somewhere memorialized, and everyone will understand what the amount is and how the payment will be made, the repayment.
And if I could, Councilman Carn, in a perfect world, Attorney Wiley, I wish you'd been here all these years. Every time we bought land, that'd have been a promissory note. You would have seen to it, so that we would have a file with all this in it. But unfortunately, you weren't here, and so we don't have it.
And ultimately, the one thing on paper, when the BIDA charter was formed by the state, the reason why BIDA had no financial powers was because as land was sold, it's a loan from the city to BIDA to be paid back. Now, ultimately, in the end game of BIDA and what it's for, eventually, what we want to get to the goal of is that at some point in time, that BIDA's purpose will be cut in half by 50%. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, with 10 square miles, there's going to come a point, and we hope there comes a point, when there is no more land to sell city-owned property. And we're going to come to that point at some time very, very quickly, but that's a good thing. The other half of BIDA's duties and charter will still be in terms of other things that BIDA does, so it won't be the end of BIDA, but that'll mean land is sold, the city is repaid, and BIDA makes some money as well.
So I have a question on the, as far as the legal fees, you said that our budget was $250,000, but right now we're approving around $30,000 a month. We're gonna end up at 400-something thousand.
Those were not my fees.
Sir, ma'am?
The old budget, that was, you're
It
looking
was
at
just
the old.
total legal fees.
From
Yeah, that's
past?
total legal fees.
Or-
No, the 26 budget.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
So now we're gonna be over in legal fees because her fees are averaging around 30,000.
That's a 3-month bill, so it's not a monthly bill. That's over a 3 period between October
But you still
1
gonna
and
near it.
December
You're gonna near
31st.
it. You're gonna near it. So what do we do? And how does her fees compare to the city attorney fees for the city? Because if we're getting on average 30-something thousand for the months, then, you know, like I said, we're gonna be well near that very quickly.
I could get those numbers to you, what we paid in the past. Couple of comments I got in no particular order is, some years we had litigation, and so the legal fees were higher than this when we had to pay litigation. Remember, we had to pay some big amount to Freeman, Mathis, and Gary on a lawsuit over something. I know, but you don't have it now. Her time has been greater in the last few months because of all the Keller Williams business, the bylaws, the accounts that we're creating. I would think in a normal month where there isn't some special project, it wouldn't be that high. But
The
you can
bill
speak to
that
that.
is on the agenda tonight is over a 90-day period. And so my bills, that's from Latanya Wiley. I believe the year before I came, the BIDA attorney bills were up to $400,000. My bills were nowhere approximate that. I may be right at 100 or a little over, just because throughout the end of the year. So I'm nowhere close to $250,000. I have not billed $250,000, and I look forward to doing a specific accounting to show how much I have billed this year. And if it's 120,000, I don't even think it's over. I won't speculate. But the bill before you is for 3-month period, so it averages out about averages about $10,000 a month. And I am not including all of the work that I do on the real estate transactions. I opt to save money for BIDA. I opt to take money from the closing proceeds because the deals that we have are so labor intensive because there are a lot of nuances, which I won't go into, which I have explained to the board in executive sessions. We haven't had easy deals, but they've been good deals. And so we're nearing 2 to 3 transactions that we're going to be closing within the past 8 months, more than this board has done in previous years. So I'll leave it at that, and I'll update the board with what my legal fees are today to clear the record.
Well, I can understand if they're over 3 months because every month we have approved an invoice for you.
That's not
It's been
true.
over 20,000, 30,000, 35. How is that 3 months past?
That's not true.
And that's not, I'm pretty sure, that's not true. And nothing. And also, and also, Attorney Wiley, the first months that you came.
I have not billed, so from February until about June, I did not bill the BIDA board at all. I'm not seeking, and the chair has asked me to, I'm not gonna go back and see, that's my, I ate that and I'll accept that. But we have not had $20,000 a month, and I'll pull all the bills and we'll do that's just flatly inaccurate.
I don't think there's any vote.
Oh, let's go.
Unless you wanna go to the next one.
So the next item, Madam Chair, is the Georgia Fund 1.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, the Georgia Fund 1.
So Attorney Wiley asked me to come and talk to y'all about Georgia Fund 1, opening an account there. About 40 years ago, the state of Georgia Department of Treasury, the state treasurer, created a money market mutual fund for all the state's assets, the colleges, agencies, and they let schools, counties, cities, and authorities participate in it. And I think they have, I don't know, about $40 billion in it. And the Georgia Fund 1 was created to buy U.S. treasuries with a maturity no greater than 90 days and agencies guaranteed by the U.S. Treasury with maturity no greater than 90 days. In the world of investing, you don't get any safer than a U.S. Treasury or agency guaranteed by the U.S. government. And the other alternatives for cities and authorities to invest is you invest in a bank. You go and buy a CD, or you get a money market account at a bank. And there, you only have FDIC insurance up to $250,000. Anything above that has to be collateralized by the bank taking the U.S. Treasury and depositing it with a third-party bank, so that if that bank were to go belly up, you cash in that Treasury and you don't lose any money. The other thing, some cities and counties and authorities as big as Atlanta buy and trade their own U.S. Treasuries, but most governments don't. So this Georgia Fund 1, I've been in business for 42 years. I recommend it to all my clients. I don't receive any money from it. They don't pay anybody anything. But Georgia Fund 1 charges 5 basis points as a fee to manage that money. If you wanted your money tomorrow, you just had to let them know today by 2 o'clock. And it's the safest investment you could put money in. And because they only charge 5 basis points as a fee, their returns are higher than any other money market mutual fund that's available to local governments. And their rate right now is 3.76%. And the city uses it, Fulton County uses it, all my clients use it. And It's the highest yielding, safest, and it's a money market. So you don't have, when you buy a CD, if you have to cash it in early, you pay a penalty. With a money market account, your money's available the next day. And so it's a really good investment for you to take money, and you don't have to have a separate checking account unless you want one, but I would encourage you to have a separate checking account at some bank and then have this money market account as your investment. And you would write checks for stuff out of your checking account, but most of the money would be in Georgia Fund 1 earning interest. That's it, Madam Chair.
Anybody have any discussion?
I have a question. In the simplest form, can you explain what the 5 basis point is?
Sure. So 1% is 100 basis points. So 5 basis points would be 5/10 of 1%. So if 1% fee, like most of us, if we go to a brokerage firm and they manage our money, they charge us a 1% fee. That's 100 basis points. So because Georgia Fund 1 is a state agency managed by the treasurer, and it's so much money, they only charge 5 basis points. So instead of 100, just 5. So it's a really, really, really low fee.
All right, hold on. Okay.
Question now, Ed, so now this is something that you want BIDA to buy into?
Yes, sir.
And deposit in what money into it? I guess.
The 1/8, the 1% fees, if they sell land and they keep part of it, they need to have some place to invest it.
All right, now, we agreed to open up BIDA a bank account at the last meeting. So this would be the account?
This would be in addition to that. It'd be like a savings account.
Two accounts?
Yes, sir.
This would be like a savings?
Yeah, it's like a savings account, yes, sir.
Okay, and this is gonna cost us a piece of a percent?
5 basis points.
5 basis points.
So that 380, 376, that's after the 5 basis points has been taken out.
And where do you come in on this?
Nothing, not a thing in the world.
All right, I just wanna make sure that's on the record.
Madam Chair, what are you looking for, Madam Chair? Are you looking for a motion to move on with this?
So there's a resolution you all have to approve, and then the resolution's filed with Georgia Fund 1, and they open up an account for you.
And for the, Madam Chair, if I may just clear up something. And the motion that was made last month was to open a bank account at Georgia Fund 1. So that, I think we opened up the savings account. So there was already the motion, and authorized the chair to sign all the documents necessary to have this resolution. I think we will, in light of what y'all did with the bylaws, this is a savings account. So, and I'm gonna lean on you. You would recommend, the BIDA board did not motion to open up a separate checking account. It only moved to open up this Georgia Fund 1 savings account to put in a high yielding money market fund.
Okay.
And is it your? Yes.
So, it's his opinion that we'll open up a separate account. I'm gonna go back to what Councilman McCarn said. I think we should look at a minority-owned bank for our checking account. So, we got the Georgia Fund 1 operated. We need a separate checking account. And I agree with Councilman McCarn, we should look at a minority bank. I don't know who they are. Councilman McCarn may know about them, more about them than I do, but I'm gonna agree with him on that. Checking account should be a minority bank.
Anybody else have any?
Yeah, I agree. So we can still use Georgia 1 for the savings?
Yes.
And
as long as you keep the balance in your checking account at $250,000 or less, you're covered by FDIC insurance.
Right. All right.
All right, so what needs to be the motion, Madam Chair, or City Attorney Ed, what I need to
We're
do?
gonna do the resolution.
So did you say they'd already made a motion for Georgia Fund 1?
Yes, last month.
Okay,
That's
so
good.
we're good
Agreed.
to
So
go.
that's why I wanted you here to explain what it was. We didn't adopt any financial control policies, and nothing has been signed. So I knew we want, and I know you were adamant, and I agree that we have some policies in place, some procedures, address some of the concerns that have been raised. So we would need a separate motion. And I think what we need to change, because last month y'all said that the city manager would be one of the signatories. I think we need to have a motion to allow the signatories on the Georgia Fund 1 account to be the chair, the vice, the secretary treasurer, and the city finance director, and those will be the three signatures on the resolution. If I'm wrong, am I right? Yeah. And then part B of the motion or a separate motion would be to open up a checking account under the regular FDIC insured bank. And I think an African-American owned bank.
And those are,
same
how do you want to
signatories.
go, there's Citizens Trust Bank, there's Unity Bank.
That'll be my motion. Y'all decide which one. That'll be my motion.
With the same signatories?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Okay.
In
Mayor.
regard to the checking account with a minority bank, is anyone tasked to find the highest yield on the checking account? Or are we just randomly picking and who is doing that?
Good question, Madam Mayor. I like that. We'll task Ed Wall to come back with the highest rate, and that's who we'll go with.
And Madam Mayor, the goal is to take any excess cash, because you can get it the very next day and put it in Georgia Fund 1, and the balance in the checking account will never be very high. So the interest rate that's paid on that won't be significant either way.
We still want the same, we want the highest.
Yes, sir.
All right. You made a second?
All right, yeah.
Okay, the motion and the second has been amended to the highest yielding African-American bank for the checking account. That's the motion on the floor, Madam Chair.
All in favor?
All right.
Raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
One abstention, Board Member Jefferson. Next, we'll have the discussion of creation of financial policy pertaining to the BIDA designated bank account by the General Counsel, Attorney Wiley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I can put it up on the screen, but you all have the actual document in front of you. It's beginning on page of your policy, of your packet, 55. So I just want to say that I always expected this board to come back and adopt the clear framework, financial control framework that will govern this new action that you were taking with the bank accounts. The goal is to be transparent, to have accountability controls in place, to minimize any opportunity for anything to go wayward. We all know these are public funds, and you all are public officials, and the goal is to ensure that there is proper stewardship of these funds and accountability. So what this policy attempts to do, and obviously this is my first draft at it, so it's intended for you all to discuss and revise as needed or ask questions. It creates a comprehensive financial control structure that defines who handles the funds, how transactions are approved, how funds are protected, and how the board maintains oversight. The goal is to ensure transparency, accountability, and strong financial governance as the authority undertakes major development projects or any other projects that lead to financial income coming in, financial revenues coming in. So Article 1, we'll start there, the purpose. The purpose is to explain why this policy exists. It exists to establish a formal system for protecting BIDA funds and creating internal controls over your financial transaction. It also clarifies that all BIDA funds are public funds and must be handled in accordance with the authority's constitutional charter and Georgia law. I would say in bylaws. I think I need to add bylaws and Georgia law.
All 10 pages.
I'm not. I'm just gonna. Do you want me to?
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
When you say constitutional
Charter. What do I mean?
Say the last statement that you just said.
I said I'm going to include bylaws in there because we just adopted bylaws. So the constitutional charter is the governing document that created BIDA. BIDA is a constitutional authority that has the same sovereign immunity as the state of Georgia. BIDA is not a local created authority. It's created as part of the Georgia Constitution. That's the highest law in the state of Georgia. It's the Georgia Constitution, the highest state law. And so we are part of that. and all of your powers are derived from the charter, from the Constitution of the state of Georgia. So that charter defines and has provisions in it that talks about how you have to segregate monies from bonds. It talks about how you get grants. It talks about all those things that we're going to talk about more at the retreat. So this purpose of this document is to be in compliant with the Constitution, which is our charter, the bylaws, and Georgia law.
Thank you.
I'm not going to read all, okay, so let me just be quick. So the scope, it explains what the financial policy covers: bank accounts, deposit payments, financial records, and reporting. And it says that anyone involved in handling these funds have to follow this policy, designate who physically manages the money under Article 3. It assigns custody to the City of College Park's finance director, who will maintain all the accounts. That means the statements will go to the city finance director every month. He or she, it's a she, so she will have the authority to open up the statements, look at them. I mean, she will be able to handle those and reconcile in whatever manner customary, and our financial advisor will be there with her. Our Article 4 says that the funds can be kept in an approved financial institution. Article 5 defines who the authorized signatories are. The bylaws would designate the officers, and we've done that. The board may require multiple signatures for certain transactions. We've done that. Article 6 establishes a key control. The board must approve final transactions. Before funds are dispersed, the custodian, which will be the city finance director, she will have to verify that there was a board approval, that their availability of funds, that there's proper documentation. No payment will be made without documented board authorization. That goes to the city finance director. She will be the control and help ensure that we are honoring the processes established here. Article 7 sets forth the segregation of duties. This is a core internal control principles. The financial responsibilities are divided, so no single person controls the entire process. Different individuals handle different authorization, custody, record keeping, and reconciliation to reduce risk of fraud or financial misuse. Article 7 governs how incoming funds are handled. All funds received by BIDA must be promptly deposited into the accounts. That will be our custodian who will we get a check, the custodian will give it to the custodian. The city finance director will deposit it and keep everything documented. Restricted funds, those are the funds that Mr. Wall was referencing, our designated restricted revenue, where bonds, those are separate. Those are going to be tracked separately. That's going to be kept separately. That's not going to be a part of what we're doing for our operational stuff. Every payment on Article 9 must have supporting documentation: invoices, contracts, reimbursement records. Minutes can be a record. You all authorized tonight the leader gov. So those minutes will support the contract. When we send it over for payment, when we send it over to Mr. Hicks's folks, we will have tonight's minutes that show that you all authorized this payment. It requires monthly financial reporting so that we can have financial transparency to the board. Each month, the custodian will prepare a report, the city finance director. He can provide it to us. We have to work with the city manager, of course, but each month you're gonna get a bank reconciliation status. You're gonna know what all the outstanding obligations, and you will discuss that during your regular meetings. Article 12, banking electronic transfers require dual authorization. I think the city should adopt that because the city currently only has one person to my knowledge, one person can make electronic transfers. Article 13 prohibits any kind of ATM or cash withdrawal restrictions. So we're not going to have ATM withdrawals. We're not going to have debit card withdrawals or cash assets mechanisms unless specifically approved by the board. So y'all have to decide to do that. If the board wants to have a debit card used for training only for training purposes or something like that, so you can reserve rooms. I know last year the board had a problem getting room reservations for the Savannah trip because it did not have any kind of debit card or credit card. And then every year you all review the bank signatories. You come back and you review it and look at, is it working, is it not working, and you make changes. And funds can only be placed in federally insured deposit accounts or other lawful public fund depositories, which will be Georgia Fund 1. Article 16 is the fraud reporting procedure. Anyone who suspects fraud or misuse has to notify the chair, the board. The board may authorize an investigation and take corrective action. And Article 17, policy review. You can periodically review and amend this policy to maintain effective financial safeguards as BIDA's projects. And that's it. That's the whole 10 pages, Madam Chair.
So, Madam Chair, I'm looking for us to adopt this tonight and then we can, okay. Madam Chair, I make a motion to accept the financial management and internal control policy.
Make a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Have a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I oppose.
One opposed, motion passes.
Madam Chair, if I can just go on, the next item is the legal invoices for the Wiley Law Firm for services. Again, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. I'm so sorry.
And I wanted to wait until, apologies. I wanted to wait until we were going, I wanted to wait until we were going over your legal fees. And our board member was saying some things that were not of truth. And we're getting ready to go over your invoice, and that will state the facts of what you have actually charged. And I know for a fact, the first months working with BIDA, you did not turn in invoices. So you have been a service here for this board. You have helped this board, even with us not having executive director, to help with projects that have deals that have been we've already completed, deals that have been finished, and deals that we are working on with developers. And I apologize for that, because you're just now getting invoices to this board, and you can share your invoices now.
So the invoices are an accumulation of October, November, and December. So I have not submitted an invoice in October, November, or December 2025, nor January or February 2026. I will bring those next month. And so that the last invoices will be April, May, and June. And if you have any questions, please let me know. I can have the itemized billings are attorney-client privileged information. So if you would not disclose those to third parties, whenever I send them over to the city, if I send them over to the city, what goes for the public to see would just be a one line item. The internal folks that Mike Hicks and his folks will see, they can see this, obviously, if they're gonna make certain that there is money to pay it. But I enjoy working for the board. It has been challenging doing all these in the absence of an executive director, but no ball has dropped, and we're making good progress. And I can't wait to tell you all in the coming weeks that we're going to have a deal closed. I thought we were going to close today, but we're on the verge of closing on another big deal, and I'm excited. And we close in December or November for the Edison Drive one, and we're going to have at least 2 more this year, including PMG. So
Madam
thank
Chair.
you, board.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the invoices presented before us today.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second, quick discussion. Quick. So I want to just set the record straight. I'm looking at this bill, $35,000 and change from October 1st to December 31st. That's 3 months of work, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So if I divide that $35,000 by 3 months, that's about $11,000 and some change.
Yes.
Per month, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Last question. How many months did you work for us without charging us at all?
About 6 months.
Okay. Now, going by that logic, let's assume it's about the same workload that you would do monthly as you've done from October to December. 6 months worth of work would be about $70,000 that we didn't have to pay for.
Sadly, yes. It's my fault, not y'all's.
Well, I'm glad to hear it, and obviously that's my kind of attorney. But, I just wanted to set the record straight for, you definitely put in your tithes and offering, as they say at the church. So we appreciate that. All right.
Okay,
So I'd
all
like
in
to add
favor?
to this, since we're in discussion. Hannah, can you verify when the last invoices that we approved as a board for Attorney Wiley?
I believe that was the Starkey Law Group, and that was the.
Yeah.
Yeah, October.
Go ahead. No, you can go ahead if you remember. It was either.
That's Hannah. So that's you.
Let me verify, but I believe it was. If I go back into my documents. I believe it was October.
So it was October, and this is what I'm saying. So how much was that bill? It was 20-something thousand.
I can verify that. So October.
You can. Yeah. She wants to.
They were for August and September. Invoices that were paid in October. They were for August and September.
So it was about 7,500 for it was actually for August to September invoice.
Correct, right. Okay.
And then what was the months when
But the invoice date was October 3rd.
So when we approved her contract, there was another invoice that we approved.
I don't believe there was another invoice. Well,
You checking it? You checking Hannah? Just check because we want to make.
Okay, I would have to check.
And that was for another.
Well, if you could check that and send out a roll forward report for us to show what months we're being billed and then what months we are actually approving.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll go ahead. I'll do that.
All in favor? Aye, with a raise of hands. Any opposed? She said, aye. Okay. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
One abstention, Board Member Jefferson. Next, we have consideration of approval for amended bylaws as originally adopted.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor with raising hands? Any opposed? Okay.
Opposed.
One opposed, Board Member Jefferson.
Mr. Mills, aye.
She had an aye. Hers was aye.
Can we please repeat the motion for the bylaws?
I think the motion will be reflected in the, up in the earlier discussion, but as I recall, it was approved with the change revisions on the page 26 under authority control. The zeros of 4,999 could be approved with the mayor, the chair, and the secretary, treasurer, from $5,000 to $4,999. It was approved. The approval is the full board with the signatures of the chair and the secretary, treasurer, and then anything over $50,000 will require board approval, but will add an additional signatory of the finance director to to the chair and the secretary treasurer.
Got it.
Do we need to include this 6 to 5, or that's something separate?
And yes, and then the on the page 26, the bottom on the amendments to approve to any amendments to the bylaws requires 5 affirmative votes, and any votes to rescind a development agreement or a purchase and sale agreement that was approved by majority vote requires 5 votes to rescind.
Just one more.
Second. Okay, second. Okay, with those revisions, all in favor, raise your hands. Any opposed?
Opposed.
One opposed, yes, you said. One opposed, Board Member Jefferson. Okay, well, thank you. Next, I want to say something right quick. Oftentimes, we have to be careful when words go out that are not of truth. And it brings me to some words that were spoken about the board and the Christmas celebration, that it cost $60,000 last year. That the board was charged $60,000. That was not true. And Hannah, how much was the board charged for the BIDA?
For 2025, it was $7,000.
How much?
$7,000.
It was $7,000. Next, it said that the people who were recognized at that I want to go ahead and call them out because it was like they were friends, families. I want to make sure that I don't want to diminish any award recipients. The first one that was awarded was our Business Community Partnership Recognition Award, and that was to the College Park Skyhawks. Special recognition for Community Partnership Award, that was the Atlanta Dream. Special presentation, that was to Fulton County Board of Education and Fulton County Government. The next was Business of the Year, Main Street and Virginia. That was the Elysium Center, the Tasting Table Restaurant, and No Limits Community Development Corporation. Next was Business of the Year for the Southside Corridor. That was Clean Skies Laundromat. The Legacy Award went to Reverend Dr. Marjorie Dent. Best New Business of the Year went to Hospital in Your Home. And we had several bridge builders who were unsung heroes who received a recognition. And with saying that, I have to say that in November at our first meeting, the board said that we will only have the $5,000 for the Christmas celebration at that meeting. I asked for a special call meeting to see about allocating more funds. And again, we had $7,000. The other $39,000 that had been budgeted is still there for business development. And I just want to say that everything that happened and was planned for that afternoon for the Christmas celebration took place right before Thanksgiving. And we were able to have a program that I thought was fitting and deserving for this board and for our city and for our community and the people who were awarded. And that afternoon, I have to say this, one of the directors with it was the Skyhawks. She wrote a letter to the board, and she said how much that award meant to her organization and their partnership here in the city of College Park. We are getting some things right. And sometimes we have to know that when we work together, that good things can happen. And we have to be careful what comes out of our mouth that is not true. That's putting things on social media. That's speaking truth that's on news. Let's tell the truth. And we have to also know that this board, even with me being placed back on this board, God, He does favor me. And He favors my work. But He favors the city. And things are moving. And when things are said that are negative and that are not true, somebody sometimes have to sit up and say it's wrong. And it's wrong not to tell the truth about anybody or anything, and especially things that are negative that impacts our city. I just want to say
So
that.
point of order. I want to call a point of order in reference to the chair. She mentioned that the $68,000 that was overly spent was referring to 2025. That is incorrect. In 2024, this board approved $20,000. She spent $68,000. So the $48,000 that was spent, we still don't have account for that. $68,000 did not refer to 2025. That was the reason why this board, point of order, that was the reason why this board came back in 2025 and said, no, your budget is only $7,000, and we want the $39,000 to go towards businesses. So I want to correct you. You're incorrect when you stated, yes, you did spend $68,000. That was in 2024.
That was in
Correct.
2024, but the word that went out on the last council meeting, it just said $60,000 that the board spent. And I just wanted, for people who wouldn't know, would just think that that's what was spent for 2025.
Madam Chair, I have a question. Were there any other funding sources that were used for the BIDA banquet this past December? Were there any other contributions other than from BIDA?
No, that's all. No, that's all.
So there were no
spent,
community
all
enhancement
spent
funds used?
from the BIDA, from BIDA, which the BIDA board said that could be spent with $7,000, and that's all.
There were no community enhancement funds from either council member, from any council members.
That has nothing to do, but whatever other funds that were helped to get that program financed, all was spent from BIDA, and that's all that was spent was the $7,000.
Madam Chair, in terms of taxpayer funds, it exceeded $7,000. Is that correct?
That would be good. What did she say?
I said, in terms of taxpayer funds, it exceeded $7,000 because there
But
were community
all that
enhancement
the
funds that were
board-
used.
Yes.
I'm talking taxpayer funds, not just BIDA alone.
Board ain't got nothing to do with city funds. We just only.
This is what was allocated for BIDA, and that's what we're on right now.
Hannah, could you enlighten us to the total amount of funds expended for the December banquet, BIDA and all city funds included?
I could get that back to everyone. I can send that to everyone. I just
And
have
also
to.
2024 too, because we never received what the 48,000 was spent on.
Yeah, I could research that and get back to everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, just want to say that. Thank you. Okay, next, GICC reports.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just going to highlight a couple of groups for the month of February. Showstoppers was one of our biggest competition that we had. Also, along with Delta Community Credit Union, the Democratic Party, of course, the Black History Program. Our operating revenues was $782,000. Our expense was $753,000. One of the highlights that we have for this week is Groom D, which that is being right now that we're setting up for. For the Gateway Center Arena, we had the senior social, League One volleyball, College Park Skyhawks. The revenue was $164,000. Operating expense was $231,000. This week we have in-house is the Southwest Athletic Conference, the HBCU, going very, very well. Second at last, we have the College Park Golf Course. We're kind of gearing up for the warmer days, but the revenue was $20,000 in the month of February. We had a little bit over expenses due to the fact we had to get the pump repaired, which was $38,000. And for parking for GICC / the arena, $292,953. That's all I have for GICC in the Gateway Center.
Okay, next we'll have.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Okay, Mayor.
Mr. Barner, I saw, and I apologize for the lag on this, but it appeared last month that there was a transfer in of revenue to the GICC that typically occurs at the conclusion of the fiscal year. Could you outline why that occurred?
I can't exactly give you that answer. That was transferred in by the financial director. But I can get with Ms. Hammonds and let you know that later.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll have the updates on the Price Barber Shop and the BIDA signage by Clearly College Park Program Manager, GICC Garcia.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So with Price Barbershop for this month, here we go. For this month, we got majority of, actually all of our permits approved. So we're through that process entirely. Everything from our demolition permit to our QAPP report plan, as well as our mini plan review. So we're good to go on the physical changes of the building. We did discover contaminants, environmental contaminants in the building. We had that tested, and there was confirmed reporting on that. So we're following the proper processes according to EPA, as well as the local laws. Part of that is getting an environmental abatement contractors to do that work. So we did bid that out, and we are expecting that sometime in March 16th or the week of March 16th to make a decision on the contractors. Next slide. Okay. Once the contaminants are removed, we will continue on with fire repair, fencing removal, and the demolition of the porch for Price Barbershop. We'll also be engaging in phase 2, which is effectively the architecture and design portion of Price Barbershop that will be bidded out as well. And we will look forward to getting those designs and the input from the community, as well as the board and then the community on the designs for Price Barbershop. And that is where we're at latest with Price Barbershop. Next slide. Next slide. Is this that? Yep.
I have a question.
Sure.
Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Is it Yakis?
Hakis.
Hakis, okay, Hakis. Question for you.
Board
Do we
Member
have an
Jefferson,
MOU?
hold on. You can speak. I'm just letting you, I'm just recognizing you. Uh-huh.
Do we have an MOU for, an MOU with FOA?
We do not have a formal MOU with FOA.
So, what, okay, all this work is being done. Who is it being done in the name of? Is it BIDA or is it FOA?
So it's done in the name of the owners of the properties, and that's BIDA.
That's who?
BIDA is the owner of the property.
So we keep labeling it as FOA though. So what is the relationship with FOA with the project?
So it's not officially labeled as FOA's project since I've worked with it. I do know, and I have worked with FOA as a community group, but this is not FOA's project. This is the city's funds, and BIDA owns the property to do the work on this project.
Okay, so I think there needs to be some information on working with FOA because we created the whole annexation of this property on, behalf of them being our designated preservation historical organization. So I don't know if FOA's people are out there, but someone needs to get together with the city and with BIDA to understand what their relationship is in regards to this project. Because I think they were here last month stating that they hadn't gotten updated on any information on this progress. So I think that relationship, if we need that MOU, it needs to be defined.
Understood. I will do that at direction of the city manager.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mayor.
If I may, to echo Board Member Jefferson's sentiments, I think the intention of this board has always been, as long as I've served on it, and this has been a priority for the board, it has been to renovate it with FOA in mind, to make sure that there is a place for the heritage of that 1 square mile to be celebrated and recognized. And so I think that if we can engage in an MOU with FOA so they are with us every step of the way, and we are taking their thoughts and opinions into account and ensuring that they are partners in this, that we are doing this with them, not to them, not on their behalf, but as partners, that is just so very, very important, especially as we continue to hope to build trust in a community that lost trust, that was essentially wiped out. So I think it is even more critical that we honor our commitments and get an MOU with FOA to formalize this relationship as soon as possible.
Okay, Mr. White.
Madam Chair, I want to thank you for bringing it up, I think, at the last meeting about us getting more involved. So we own the building, right? So I know sometimes you had something about redesign and all that kind of stuff. So does that come back? Because I don't remember BIDA, I don't remember anything ever come back to BIDA for BIDA's approval. So if somebody gonna do something to our building, you would think it would come back to BIDA. At least let us see it before you approve it, or if we don't have a say-so. So I'm a little confused about all this. Now, I'm for the project 100%. I don't want nobody to go back saying that. This is excellent. All I'm saying is, before the chair made a comment about us being involved or being at least abreast of the situation, it was kind of in dark. So at what point do some of the stuff come back to BIDA for BIDA approval, or, at least before you go approve it and is approve the design, bring it back to BIDA and let us look at it? Something along those lines. I mean, I'm just curious.
Yeah, BIDA is supposed to be and intended to be as part of the stabilization process, the architecture and design process, and the construction. So when I inherited this project, it's my understanding with the previous director that BIDA was a part of this process and the design, as well as the Stantec, who were the consultants to do some of this work. So, and this was funded through the Brownsfield grant as well.
Okay,
This was funded through the Brownsfield grant as well. So I believe there's presentations on the design, like early concept designs to council, maybe like 2024 or to early 2025 is my understanding of that. So I believe BIDA was involved, but that kind of predates me a bit.
I guess what I'm asking you is, can you make sure we are more involved?
Absolutely.
Moving forward.
Absolutely.
Before you go approving stuff.
Absolutely. And we're working very closely with the chair and the city manager to make sure that you guys are completely involved. Mhm.
Okay. Thank you, Jacques. Next, other business. Uh-huh. You can do other business now. You can
So my,
reports of the authority.
are we doing other business or reports of authority?
Okay, do we have any other business?
I have,
Okay.
so,
Board Member Jefferson.
in regards to the reason why, Hakeem, I asked you about that forward MOU, it's a lot of business here that we're putting the cart before the horse. I think that as a board, we're missing our mark here. We have billions of land to be sold, and we're not even putting out an RFP for a broker, but we're more concerned with opening a bank account. Right now, our signage on our land that we do have for sale is overgrown with foliage. I mean, I don't know who's following up and following through to get this land sold and presented appropriately so that we can avoid receiving warehousing LOIs. But I have a question for you, Hakeem. On a daily basis, how many LOIs or contracts have you received?
So in terms of calls before the LOIs, because they're very different numbers.
In terms of calls and the LOIs?
In terms of calls, we're talking between 9 to 15 calls a day about interest in properties for BIDA, specifically the 6 West. In terms of LOIs, it's more around 2, maybe 3 a month.
Okay, so see, and that's my concern, because we don't have the proper representation to get our marketing for our parcels out there in order to generate revenue for the city is what our main goal and purpose is supposed to be. In addition to that, we have open items as far as the condemnation on 6 West, as far as the IGA agreement with the city. They're just things, more pertinent business things that needs to be addressed, MOU with forward, that needs to be addressed if we are to consider this board a business professional board. Our agendas from the past months has been a lot of check marks and busy work, but we haven't been taking care of our business to market our properties and to get the necessary contracts in order so that we can conduct business with integrity and accountability.
And Dr. West, could you, we've been talking about the signage and the website, that we've been working on that.
Can we get the presentation for signage? The second presentation, please. Okay, so that perfectly segues to our next presentation on just BIDA property marketing and signage, right? And right next to that is actually a real sign of what our latest signs look like. I imagine that's probably something we want to have updated and probably have some input on, but that is what we're looking at in terms of one of the few signages on those properties. So to the point of the board, the purpose of the signage is to improve that visibility to developers and provide that clear understanding, contact for information on just we're ready to sell property and this is how you obtain that property. This is how you do business with BIDA and eventually City of College Park. And so it is of my recommendation that through research and looking through a lot of the signage processes, there's 2 main type of signs for development. The regular or standard size 24 by 36 And those are the materials there. And of course, the larger site signs that we're more familiar with, which is the 4x4 panels. On the next slide, it's kind of an example of what we're talking about. So the standard sign is the one that we already have posted on one of our properties. And of course, the larger 4x4 is to the right. And there's different styles, but that gives an idea of the size of that. The number, the quantity, recommend between 1 to 2 signs per property, or at least towards anywhere the frontage, road frontage would be of those signs. Any additional signs could be maybe directional to lead to that property, exactly where our land is at. With some research, this is pre-quotes, but research and having conversations with some local vendors, early talks around it, the standard signs are between that range. Have an idea of that. Large site signs that we talked about, I just mentioned the 4x4 is between that range of 150 to 400, and installation would be 100 to 150. Why this is important is some BIDA properties, like the Princeton Avenue properties, those are 91 parcels. And so if we're talking about 4x4 signs, 2 being on a parcel or 1 being on a parcel, and it's a range between 150 to 400, that gives an idea, early idea of what we're talking about in terms of cost. In terms of quotes, my recommendation would be based on about 5 points, which is competitiveness, their experience doing commercial or real estate signage, the materials, the product installation in that timeline, and of course the design quality. For the board, your input, the signage size and style, numbers of signs, everything we've just kind of mentioned before, the budget range, and of course, eventually the authorization to go out and actually speak with vendors officially for quotes to have signage on our properties. The next steps from this would be issuing that RFQ or just going out and getting those quotes for local vendors, receiving and evaluate those quotes, and of course, presenting that vendor to the board and proceeding with, should you choose to select that vendor, proceed with that production installation. Next, billboards. There is a billboard located, back up a bit, billboards, we kind of all know them, we all see them, but the larger purpose of or idea behind the billboards is having that high priority development parcels and reaching out to as many direct developers as possible. Highways gather a lot of attention, major corridors of traffic, being an area that we can easily have high visibility for properties that we may post on a billboard. So going out and doing some site visits, there is a billboard located on Princeton and Howard. That is right by I-85. And that's right by I-85. And so we did see this. I'm still confirming if this is officially BIDA-owned property or City of College Park-owned property, but it is something that we view it as an opportunity to post development opportunities as a marketing strategy. Okay. It's not really. No, there's more to it than that. Can you do a next slide? Oh, okay.
While waiting, comment on that?
Absolutely.
You might want to check because I believe the reason we couldn't rent that billboard was that the trees had grown up and you couldn't see it from 85.
Okay.
The law back then was you couldn't cut trees. I think since then they passed the orders where we can cut the trees. So just look at the visibility, know that we have to spend some money to cut the trees.
I'll take note of that, board member. Why? Okay. Okay. My suggestion would be running campaigns just for only 1 to 3 months, keeping it short, highlighting the highest priority for land to be sold. And then there's also the 360 tool. So if you remember on the first slide, the current BIDA signage has a College Park 360 website. I did check, and that website is active, and it is an interactive view that allows those developers to explore that site remotely. I think this is effective and should be highlighted, maybe revamped, updated with the latest information that needs to be there, but it is an active site that can be utilized and should be utilized to work in tangent with the signs, the billboard, and the website. As for the website, in recommendation and working with IT, working with the communications department, these are some features that can be updated and as well as added to the website. So a dedicated properties page, of course, embedded the 360 property views and the aerial photos and site maps. Linking signage and billboards using those QR codes. I don't believe I saw any QR codes on any of the signs that we drove through, and I think that would kind of highlight and connect that to developers, potential buyers. 6 West has some, okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mayor.
I have a question for Mr. Garcia. When we had brokers in the past, it was my recollection that they did a lot of this on their own as part of their marketing of the property. And so I feel like I've been saying this a lot tonight. To Board Member Jefferson's point, why would we not engage in trying to find a broker who has connections, and we're not doing this legwork, which we are not experts at? Why are we not engaging in that process as a board to ensure that we are marketing this site and others within the city to the folks who would be able to take action in the best way possible?
To answer that, Mayor, if it's the will of the board to go forward with a broker, I can get an RFP going this week, or next week, and push that out and have brokers before you guys before the board to make decisions and move forward on this.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes,
So that decision has to come from you to the board, not one person's opinion.
I recognize that. And so, Attorney Wiley, would it be appropriate at this time for me to make a motion to that effect?
No, we need to discuss that next week.
Attorney Wiley.
You can make a motion to add that item. Yes, we can make you can make that motion to do that. Yes.
So, Madam Chair, I'd make a motion to amend the agenda to add consideration of putting out an RFP for a broker for the 6 West parcels.
I have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second with, Madam Mayor, if I can ask that you amend your motion to include the other parcels as well?
Absolutely, Board Member Jefferson.
Outside of 6 West.
Other BIDA-owned parcels.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, BIDA parcels.
I accept that friendly amendment.
All in
And
favor?
I'll second that as well.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 And the mayor, she can't vote, right? She's,
The mayor's been voting. She's been voting this
but
evening.
I thought she was on Zoom. She couldn't.
I'm assuming the mayor is out of the jurisdiction or under the weather.
She is out of the jurisdiction.
Yeah, so yes, she can vote, yes. We didn't clear that up on the record, the front end, Madam Mayor. I'm sorry, I should have asked you that question on the front end. But yes, she's available to vote because she's out of the jurisdiction.
Well, I do have some discussion. I don't know if we're ready to look at pulling in a broker yet. Every time we pulled in a broker, I haven't seen a whole heck of a lot of success out of it with BIDA, to be frank. And obviously, we want to sell property this year, but we have had a few offers come in, and we're looking at closing some things right now. We're We are appraising the 6 West property. That should be done in a week or so. I'd like to see how that comes back before we commit to hiring a broker. And so I think hiring a broker at this point would be a little premature. And there were a couple of deals right now. Ms. Wiley, I understand that you're close to closing right now.
That's correct.
And I guess my point is, again, when BIDA had a broker, we weren't that successful. But right now, we're closing property right now. And to be frank, if we've got some momentum going with some sales and we're closing, taking the time out to go through the process of hiring a broker before we close anything would just slow us down. I want to keep that momentum going.
Correct.
So I don't think the time is just to jump out and say, let's hire a broker out to clear blue sky just when we get momentum going and we're closing deals. I don't, here's the thing. I want BIDA to close deals. And BIDA's getting good offers and BIDA's closing deals. That's what we call making progress. And I want to keep that progress going. And right now it's moving. So my suggestion is let's close the stuff that we're close to closing now, get it done out the way. And if we want to look at a broker later on, so we don't have to pay commissions to the stuff that's already in the pipelines, then so be it. But I don't think now's the time, because right now, we're closing and we're going to get some land sold, probably without a broker. Again, I think we're doing better right now without a broker than we were with a broker. So I don't think now's the time. I think we need to sit back, close this stuff, and then take another look at it later on in the year here.
So I.
Madam Chair?
Madam Chair, I contest what the Mayor Pro Tem suggested, because the only reason why we have these deals that we are closing right now is because we had an Economic Development Director, Brian Hooker, that brought us those deals. We have that missing now. GICC just said he's receiving 9 to 15 calls and barely 3 LOIs. So that tells you that we do not have visibility for our remaining parcels. We understand that there's appraisal taking place on 6 West. We want to even avoid with that appraisal that it comes in so low that you sell it to a developer that could build an outlet mall. Hopefully not. But if we had the necessary representation, which is what we're supposed to have as a broker to represent our parcels so that we can get the highest maximum dollar and the appraisals for our properties, that's what's needed. But what you have now is a void. We do not have an economic development director. We do not, Hakeez is giving us a presentation on signage. Real estate takes more than signage. The reason why you had the 360collegepark.com is because Artie Jones marketed it through CoStar. Do you have access to CoStar to do marketing?
Not currently. No.
Correct. So with that, we're working at a deficit. So I get why you don't want to have a broker, is because you don't want interference with 6 West, but it's more than 6 West.
Point of order.
Point of order. It's more than 6 West. We have more parcels that are remaining dormant due to lack of visibility.
Board Member Jefferson, just a moment. There's a point of order, Madam Chair. You want to take the point of order, or you want to withdraw it? Everything, when the point of order is made, everything stops until the chair can address the point of order or not. Madam Chair.
Board Member Jefferson was speaking, but also I wanted to hear from Mr. Hicks.
So, Madam Chair, I think, she was withdrawing, and then Board Member Jefferson can continue. She can continue her comments, and then the next person can be heard.
So what are we doing?
You can finish talking.
So we need broker representation so that our properties can be marketed appropriately and our properties can be priced appropriately. We're spending dollars that we do not have to spend. If we had a broker, the broker would take care of the marketing fees and get paid on the back end. We're currently receiving LOIs that they're asking us to pay them a commission. That's inappropriate. because we don't have representation. So we need to handle business and stop being busy. Thank you.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Okay, Mr. Hicks is speaking now.
So, Madam Chair, in terms of the Economic Development Director's position, I own that one. And so I've been working diligently to find us an Economic Development Director. We've gone through several interviews, and we have not found the talent that we're looking for. So I'm hoping by at least the first or second week in April, okay, we can get someone on board. I understand there's a deficit, and I own what my team is lacking. So I'm working on that. By the middle of April, we're gonna have someone.
Thank you. Mayor?
My question in terms of the appraisal of 6 West, I think Councilmember Carn brought that up, and it's going to be done in the next week. Do we have a scope of work on that, or who's been in contact with the appraiser? Has anyone been in contact with the appraiser?
Madam Mayor, I will say, after this board voted, was it 2 meetings ago, to authorize CBRE to conduct their appraisal? And there was a meeting, a virtual meeting, and I know that the vice mayor, the appraiser, I'm not sure if you were on that, Mr. City Manager, but I remember I was on that, listening to the comments, but from my understanding, the city council put an RFP out or approved that before BIDA came back and said, yes, as a property owner, we agree to it. So to your question, Madam Mayor, I have not seen it. I think the city should have it out. City Manager, if y'all put it out I'm not sure how the city came to CBRE, but the city handled that process from the beginning. And I have only had one conversation, Madam Mayor, and it was in reference to what had already been done, not what they were going to do.
The appraiser, to that point, has anyone had any conversations about how this appraisal is being done? Are we doing it for highest and best use? Is that what we're going to see?
During the conversation, Madam Mayor, that I had with the appraiser and that one virtual call, I asked that question because, there's so much that goes into appraisal, and obviously you know that by the nature of your questions. And I think there was a scope. I'm not sure, Mr. Hicks, if you know what the scope was. I'm just not sure what the city put out for the RFP. And I should have gotten it by now. I should get it just to see, Madam Mayor, but I will find that out. But my impression at that meeting was the deal had already been struck between CBRE and the city, and there was that I didn't have any. I didn't make any effort to negotiate those points as you referenced.
So does anyone know if the appraiser is doing an appraisal as to the highest and best use of the 6 West property?
So to answer your question, Madam Mayor, there is an appraiser in contract with the city. There's a contract that's fully executed, and there's a scope associated with that contract.
Can you send that to me? Can you send that to me? Email that?
Sure.
Thank you.
Is the appraisal going to be to highest and best use?
I am having done litigation with appraisal reports. I think that is I think that's what they have to do ethically. Now, whether or not, I think the client can sometimes ask the appraiser to make some they call it extraordinary assumptions. So let's say that there is a corner piece and just assume that that's going to be a gas station, right? And they can evaluate it based on that extraordinary assumption. Otherwise, they're going to use, I'm assuming fair market value will be determined by the highest and best use. That's my assumption, Madam Mayor, and I will yield with that.
I would like to correct the attorney with that. Actually, what the mayor is asking, if the appraisal is being done to highest and best use, is because you're doing the appraisal before PMG closes. So therefore, you're going to get the appraisal. You want that appraisal to come in lower. Someone does. because you're doing it before PMG closes. PMG is the groundbreaking point to solidify that we're getting 257,000 above price. Without that closing, it's way below that, but that's what you want.
I'm gonna, to your point, I have done significant litigation with appraisal reports, and where there are valid contracts for sale that are likely to go through, appraisers can take that into account when they're looking at a particular area. I don't know how deep the CBRE, I mean, it's CBRE, I'm assuming they're gonna do high quality appraisal work, but they can take into account contracts for sale that are likely to go through. That's sometimes it's called speculation, but if we're about to close, that's just going to be a point of sale that may be a good comp to determine some values. But it all depends on location, interior, exterior, how long. So it's a lot. Those were some of the questions I had, but I'm assuming that the appraisers will do their professional job. They have ethical responsibilities just like lawyers do.
That you call for the vote?
I just think that hiring or looking for a broker right now is a little premature. I think we're off to a good start this year. We've got a lot of good leads. We've got a lot of deals on the table that we're close to closing. And again, I don't want to stop that momentum, while at the same time, we're just still staffing up as well. So I think we see where we go in terms of closing without a broker, the deals that we've got. And we can take a look at it, you know, after a while here, once we get our footing together with BIDA. We just got our bylaws straightened out. City manager's straightening things out on the city end. He's not quite there yet, but I think we need to wait before we look at a broker before we move forward with that.
So, is there a motion on the floor?
That's a second, I think we're in discussion.
Okay. No, I don't have no discussion. I missed most of the discussion, but I think here's where I am without missing a lot of this elevation. I think I agree with the mayor. We need to get hired broker, whatever right now, but I think I would like my mayor to let us get an economic development director on board, or by the executive director, somebody on board, on staff to help facilitate some of that. So I support what you're saying. I would like to maybe do it at a later meeting when we have an economic development director.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
To Board Member Wyatt's point, would it be possible to put out an RFP and then have it close at the end of April? So that if Mr. Hicks said that we would have, it's his intention to have someone on staff by the beginning and mid of April, that this might be one of the first tasks that they get to go under. I think the RFP process could move forward while the finalists for economic development come into focus.
Thank you, Mayor. Call for the vote.
If she's amending her motion to that, I second it.
I would make that to have the RFP stay open until April 30th. Yes, I would. If Board Member Jefferson is amenable to that friendly amendment.
I would.
Yes, I agree with the amended motion.
The discussion.
Second.
Again, I think we may eventually need to look at bringing in a broker, but I don't want to start the process prematurely. I want us to staff up and take a look at it at a later point here. But I don't want to start the process prematurely before we have staff in place. We need to take a look at at things once we staff up. And I would like us to close on some of these projects that we're in the process of getting close to closing on.
That was the purpose of her amendment.
And what was the amendment again? What was it?
The amendment was to, you can start the RFP process, but it does not complete until the Economic Development Director interviewing process is completed.
Right.
To be completed by the end of April.
I do not want to start the RFP process at all. I don't want to look at a broker situation until we're ready from economic development all the
All
way
right,
down.
Councilman Carter, you've been clear. Let's vote.
Now, which one, so this vote is?
Yeah, can the
Repeat.
can the
So-
motion be restated with that amendment?
Well, that's my friendly amendment. I'm not against looking at a broker, but I don't want to start the process now.
I do not accept that friendly amendment.
So, Mayor, oh, should I? Okay, do I should repeat it?
So can the motion be repeated?
Yes. Mayor Motley Broom motioned to put out an RFP for a broker for the 6 West parcels. And it was amended that it would be all of the BIDA-owned parcels, and then again amended to make the RFP open until the end of April to provide time to find the staff for economic development.
Okay, who seconded the motion?
And I seconded it.
Mrs. Jefferson seconded.
And all of those amendments were accepted by Ms. Jefferson?
Yes, yes. So the only present amendment, the only amendment is the last one that you raised, that the mayor made. So
Yes.
that's only one motion on the floor that has been amended and properly seconded and amended with seconds. So the only difference to wait to do the RFP and have it read the very last one, Hannah, not all of them. Just read the very last one.
To make the RFP open until end of April, but I think they also did the amendment to include all the BIDA parcels.
Yeah, that came forward.
Okay.
So all the BIDA parcels and inclusive of 6 West at the end of April. That's the
Yes.
motion.
Understood.
Everybody clear on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one more question. Can I ask my question? So at present, how many properties are we close to closing on?
1, 2, it should just be 2. Huh? 1, 2. There are 3 in the pipeline of closing. One is imminent within days, and the others are within within less than a couple of months, I'm estimating, to get those done. Oh, and let me just say on PMG, the PMG, we're still waiting on the site plan approval. But we'll get, the money that we'll get from that will be $700,000 just for that. So closing will be after that.
So
The question was.
So I have continuing on my question. So with those 3 being close to closing, what are we looking at in commissions being charged for whoever's spearheading that?
There are for one of them, the one that's imminent, the BIDA board agreed to pay part of closing, so we're only paying a 5% closing. I'll give y'all the settlement statement, but there are no brokers in the other 2 transactions. So we don't really have a broker for BIDA, and there are no brokers.
All right, thank you.
We're paying a commission.
Thank you.
Yes, for
Still
one of
paying a
them.
commission.
For one of them.
We're paying their broker. That's what we're paying. We're not paying our broker. We're paying their broker. They set the price for their broker, and that's why we need proper representation, because that wouldn't have been done.
No, that's inaccurate factually. When the board approved that deal, and I don't want to talk too much, it was out of executive session. When the board approved that deal, the way the former economic development director set it up.
Yeah, because we didn't have a broker. That's what I'm saying.
Madam Chair,
We gotta call for the vote.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Madam Chair. Oh, okay.
We're gonna call for the vote. I'm sorry. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
We have.
Aye.
All opposed? Opposed. 1. Raise your hands, please.
I oppose, but I will be voting for this once we get a director. I think this is an excellent idea, I just think it's a little premature. So I'm voting on tonight, but I will be voting for this in the next go round.
Any abstentions? Motion passes. I'm sorry, motion fails. Next, we have reports and updates by the authority members.
If anybody, I had a quick thing. Someone touched on the BIDA Christmas celebration, which, by the way, I think that was probably one of the best BIDA Christmas events that we had ever had. The energy was positive. Everyone was impressed, and it was a real, I mean, you could feel the electricity in the room. It was a great, positive event. Speaking of that, this year is our city's 130th birthday, and we spoke about it on the city council. We had talked around the idea of having a large, citywide event to celebrate that milestone. The thought in terms of cost savings as well, the city's birth date is actually December 16th. That's the actual, birth date of the city. And in terms of a celebration, I said to myself, well, our BIDA celebration is somewhere around that date. So it might make sense to combine it and make it a little larger this year to make that celebration and save that money as opposed to doing two events. So I wanted to see if there was no objection to kind of moving in that direction to have that citywide celebration combined with the BIDA event for our 130th birthday celebration. So I just wanted to put that out there and get anybody's thoughts.
I think that's a great idea. Any other?
I'm new, so could somebody explain that to me?
Well, it's the city's.
No, not the city, the BIDA.
Oh, the BIDA Christmas.
Yeah.
This is our annual Christmas event, the BIDA Development Dinner, Awards Dinner. We recognize our developers, our community, the progress we've made. And being that our birthday is on December 16th, the BIDA Christmas event is around that exact time, the second half of December. Okay. So it would make sense to combine those in terms of cost savings and have a big event for the birthday celebration and BIDA, which is the city, So I thought it'd be, kill two birds with one stone and save some money.
So that's different from what we just did last month, or last couple of months.
It would be what we had in December, but maybe a little bit bigger because we want the public to come in and celebrate birthday success.
Okay, I was just trying to get an understanding of it, so.
Hopefully we have a lot of accomplishments and land sold to celebrate too.
I think we'll have a lot of land, so.
And anybody want to make a motion to see about doing
Well,
that?
I'll make a motion if there's interest in combining them. I think it's a great idea. Now, obviously, I think we've got to get a consensus from the council too. But I think it'd be a great idea.
Okay,
So
we'll
I'll
wait.
make that motion if the board's interested or.
Madam Chair, I would probably, I'm okay with it, but I would like to follow the council and not get ahead of the
That'll be
council.
fine. Thank you.
So I would like the council to vote on it first.
Okay. And you had something to say, Attorney Ross?
About I need to correct a previous matter. The PMG, there was a broker that y'all had initially with the 6 West, so that's the broker, the city's broker on the PMG contract that predated me. So I just want to make that clear.
Yes.
But we don't owe anything to that broker because it didn't close in a certain amount of time, right?
I have to look at that contract. Thank you, Ed. I'll look at that contract.
Thanks. I don't think we do.
Okay.
No, we don't, because PMG was procured prior to that broker. That's why.
And the things that they identified, it had to close within 90 days or 6 months or something. I think there's a time window.
Okay. I'll double check that and have that for y'all. Clarity. Thank you.
Are we still
Yes,
on
sir.
reports?
You can, yes.
I just going back to this appraisal, I want to make a motion that we make sure that the appraiser for 6 West appraises at highest and best price and usage according to the zoning and master plan for 6 West.
I think you want to make a motion to amend the agenda to add that motion. Would you be amenable to making that change, Board Member Jefferson?
Does the agenda have to be amended to
Yes.
make a motion?
To make an amendment to add something that's not on the agenda, yes, ma'am. So you're making a motion to amend the agenda. The mayor did the same thing when she did with the appraisal, so.
Sure, that's
Thank
making a
you.
motion to add to the agenda making a motion to add to the agenda along with making a motion that the appraiser is appraising the 6 West development parcels at highest and best price and usage according to the zoning and master plan for 6 West.
We have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mayor.
I think this, since there was not a definitive answer as to this, I think it's critically important that as stewards of these funds and this land, that we get the best price for it. And ensuring that we do that by having an appraisal that actually reflects the highest and best use is critically important in that entire process.
All right. No more discussion. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Raise your hand. We have 3 for it. Any opposed? How many opposed?
Yeah, yeah. I'm abstaining.
Okay. We have 2 that oppose and
Wait a minute. Yeah, I'm abstaining.
How many of, we had, how many opposed?
we had,
Let's
We
call
had 2
for the vote
opposed.
again. All right.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have 3.
I'm abstaining.
Okay, 3 in favor, any opposed? How many opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed?
Any abstentions?
No abstention. Motion failed.
Did you abstain?
Yes.
There's 1 abstention.
Oh, 1 abstention. Okay. What is
4
it?
to 1. 4 to 1.
3.
It's 3 to 3, 1.
3, 1. Oh, so motion failed.
Motion fails. Okay, we're going to, anything else? We're gonna close out the meeting.
Madam Chair, I have a report. It is.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
To me. Yes?
The meeting is closed. I just adjourned the meeting. Thank you.